Blog Talk Radio.
How do we know this is Babylon? Psalms 137. I'm going to read it. This place was known for the slaves, slave ships, boats. The children of Israel were singing songs and being whipped and beaten in this particular land. So, let me read. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept, when we remembered Zion. Yeah. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. Willows are willow trees. Where do willow trees grow? Here in America, in the South. They didn't even grow in ancient Babylon. The willow tree's name in the Latin is the Babylonicus. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. So when we were whipped and beat, we used to go under the willow trees and cry during slavery. Third verse. For there they that carried us away, captive, required of us a song. So this is talking about by the rivers of Babylon now. They required of us a song. That's where you get your Negro spirituals at. Okay? When the captives were enslaved during the time of slavery, they wasn't singing about Africa. The slaves were singing about Zion. Over the river Jordan, let my people go. These people knew that they were the children of Israel. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of those songs of Zion. That's Negro spirituals. 4. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? What strange land? By the rivers of Babylon. Yeah, they named it America, but the Most High called this land an extension of Babylon. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? It reads in the 4th verse. If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. So David said, listen, he would rather not even know anything to forget the ease of Israel. He told the Most High, please never let me forget that we're Israel, that I'm from Zion. And our people don't even care. The 7th verse. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Edom is a pure blood Caucasian who was behind bringing us here to Babylon to serve. You will never find the word America in the Bible, but you know America is written because it's the most evil and wicked empire in all existence. So you mean to tell me the Most High wrote about Egypt, Babylon, Sodom and Gomorrah, and all the evils placed in the earth, but forgot America? America is Babylon the Great. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall utterly be burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. The Most High has put His Spirit on these other countries to take her out through war. And all the other nations know it. The government know it. The bank systems, they realize it. They know prophecy. So what they're doing, they're mobilizing to move their money into the other countries over in Europe and Africa and all these other places you see Barack Obama going. He's been to Ghana twice already, knowing that this place is about to go. The 9th verse. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. So while they're teaching you prosperity, that everything is going to be all right, that you're going to be floating up into a cloud, which is nowhere in the scriptures before Christ come back. While they're teaching you all this madness in these philosophical schools they call churches, the Most High's prophecies are coming to pass. They're coming to pass before our eyes. You can see it, and you know it's going to happen. But Satan have what you would call a spell on the people through religion. So the Most High have awakened his elect in the last days to warn the people. Zechariah, the 2nd chapter in your Bible, the 5th verse. For I say of the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Ho, ho. Come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord. We didn't say this, the Lord said this. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith the Lord. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. So is this ancient Babylon? No. This is the modern day daughter of ancient Babylon. And we're in the north. The Most High say we must flee her before the destruction comes. If we don't flee her, we'll get the plagues that are coming. In Revelation 18, where it says she shall be utterly burned with fire. The 8th verse. Okay? There's more, but if you want to know more, you can always go to our website.
Shabbat Shalom, Barakatham, Watawada. Peaceful Sabbath. Bless you all, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Friday Night Sabbath, coming out of Babylon, here on blogtalkradio.com for the Gathering of Christ Church. I'm your host, Brother Ramar Karab, and I have with me brothers Yawanathan and Brother Kamar. And it is 4:06 p.m. Central Standard Time on May 3rd, 2013. And hope everybody's had a great week so far, and that your Sabbath will be a blessed one. And have another great show for all of y'all tonight. A lot of information to bring out, and so just make sure you stay tuned for everything that we have to go through. First and foremost, I want to give our praise to the Most High, Ahaya, in the name of His Son, Christ Yeshua, so we can partake in another episode on Blog Talk for the Gathering of Christ Church. Also, another Sabbath day as well to partake in. And we're going to go into, we have two segments tonight. Segment 1 will be news, prophecy, and current events. And segment 2, we're going to go into part 3 of identifying and exposing the synagogue of Satan. Part 3 is going to be the legacy of Esau/Edom. All right. So before we get started with any of the show, I know we have a lot of people, calling in and getting into the queue. So we're going to go through some church announcements, and then we're going to play a few tracks and let everybody get settled, and then we'll go straight into the information. So every Friday at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 2 Pacific time, you have Friday Night Sabbath coming out of Babylon. The website that you can listen to the show is www.blogtalkradio.com/GOCchurch. If you want to call in, you can call in the guest call-in number. The guest call-in number is 646-200-4309. If you have a question or comment, just press the number 1. That'll put you in the calling queue, and we'll take your call when we go to the calling line. We go to the lines. All right. Blog Talk Radio is on 5 nights a week for the Gathering of Christ Church. On Saturdays, we have Chilling with Israel. Tomorrow, that will be hosted by Brother Gaja and Brother Azariah. Showtimes 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 2 p.m. Pacific time. On Sundays, we have Hebrew Way is Life, hosted by Brother Xavier, Gathering of Christ Church, California. That show starts at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 7 p.m. Pacific time. All right, and Wednesdays, we have GOCC Search Engine International Search Engine, hosted by Brother Gaja, Elder Ricard Shiar. Showtime's 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 2 p.m. Pacific. On Thursdays, we have What Scripture Is That, hosted by Brother Zerai and Brother Rai. Showtime's at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 2 p.m. Pacific. Okay. If you miss any of the shows, they do archive. You can always go back into the archives and check them out. The 4th hour is overtime. So for you new listeners, if you're listening through your computer, if you want to listen to the 4th hour, make sure that you call in the guest calling number to listen to overtime. All right. On Saturdays, we have the Ustream Sabbath teaching. All right. Ustream Sabbath teaching is hosted by Elder Ricard Shiar and Elder Lawyer. The website is www.ustream.tv/channel/THE-GOC-church. Usually the class comes on around 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern. Followed by the first class, you have the law class hosted by Gabar Yasha'Allah out of New York. Those do archive as well, so all past lessons on Ustream, you can always go back and watch those. All right, the website for the church is www.gatheringofchrist.org. And if you need to contact the church, the email address is gatheringas1@aol.com. Gathering as the number 1@aol.com. Okay, if you're in the Texas area, we have an email for those that are in Texas or the surrounding states. If you're looking to fellowship or be baptized, the email address is gocctexas@ymail.com. gocctexas@ymail.com. The phone number for Texas is 972-793-7068. All right. So go ahead and take this quick break. Play a few tracks here. When we come back, we're going to go into segment 1, prophecy, news, and current events.
Sam J.
I need to be a little more enlightened. Somebody tell me who we really fighting. Revenge is for a hire, we need not to take action. We can spot the white devils, but not the black ones. Like these preachers who know the truth. Bible class will have you on to skip Bible school. How many times must I say it? Don't you hear it? Our fight is not with the flesh, it's with the spirits. They will use our hate to try to hook us. When Esau was under the belt, the father uses to whoop us. Yeah, I'm mad too, but saying kill Whitey make you look bad too. That's a bad move. We gotta get it together, young Israel, cause it wasn't just Esau, it was Assyria and Ishmael. We blame them cause we in a white man system, but Psalms 83 said the world came against us. I don't blame no man for what he must do. I don't blame no man for what he must do. I don't blame no man for what he must do. I don't blame no man for what he must do. I don't blame no man for what he must do. I don't blame no man for what he must do. But what about you? Since you the judge, now tell me what you gonna do. Since you the king, now tell me who you overthrew. We ain't done away with, cause God never changing like he's trying to make it flood. Christ still reigning, the Most High did this. So who are you blaming? He could throw down fire. Who are you flaming? Israel must treat others like equal. Yeah, we special, but you misleading the people. Some of the things we say gon' condemn us. We hope in Zion, but where we gon' end up? Praying for Israel, cause some of us gone. We write down things that's wrong. Hope you understand my meaning of the song. Hoping prophecies don't take too long. I'm in Babylon, but I'ma stay prayed up until the Savior come and save us. I don't blame no man for what he must do. I don't what he must do. I don't blame no man for what he must do. But what about you?
Thing that enters into my mind as many times as I have violated signs like guilt and dead end. Still get let in to the cold attack, and then I gotta bring it back and put it in reverse like a cha-cha slide. Trying to get down with this choreography, I'ma rehearse. If you practice hard enough, you will get hurt. You can fall several times, gotta shake the dirt off. You'll be worse off if you quit. That's legitimate fit. Gotta use a little wit, stick to the script. It's not your righteousness that make you righteous, but it's mercy that puts you in stop the likeness. Put your pocketbook away. This one is free. This one on me. I humbly make it my treat. So don't worry about no cost. Enjoy yourself thoroughly. Help yourself to another help and it's my treat.
This one is for free. This one is for me. I humbly make it my treat. This one is for free. This one is for me. I humbly make it my treat.
Just have an appetizer right along with your dessert. Inspiration amplifier so you do not go revert. Trying to insert the third seal that you felt at first when you was on that Google search, looking for diamonds in the dirt and found the truth outside the church. Whole earth is on alert cause you flirt with the idea of an idea. They don't want you thinking outside, keep it inside the parameters of you're a terrorist. They examine you if you step outside they diameter. 9/11 was a hope so they can micromanage you, but I got a can opener for the canister. Quite intriguing. Wouldn't you say put your pocketbook away? This one is free. This one on me. I'm humbly making my treat, so don't worry about no cost. Enjoy yourself thoroughly. Help yourself to another helping and eat. My treat, my treat.
This one is for free. This one is for me. I humbly make it my treat. This one is for free. This one is for me. I humbly make it my treat. Move with God. Have you ever felt like you were deserted? After dessert, move with God. Bend your knees and stop and pray and call on you. If you hurt, have you ever felt like you
Have you ever made the right decision that put you into division with family and tradition, but nobody seems to listen? Have you ever questioned that decision that you made? Cause you made that solo, so they label you as loco. Have you ever hit your knees and plead? You desire to be free, feeling like Simba inside of the stampede. Have you ever had to dig deep to proceed? What don't kill you make you stronger? Yes, indeed, we agreed. Have you ever had tears running down your cheeks? You were strong when you were weak. If you food to eat when there was no food in your pantry. At the lowest, at the highest peak, he keep blessing me. Make me think what's in your mercy. If they can come to me, gotta be to infinity. Never leave or forsake me. My serenity is connected with your energy. You're my remedy. So I feel mentally. I feel intensity, a disparity. So you never leave. Do my clarity so that I can see. This one is free. This one on me. I humbly making my treat. So don't worry about no cost. Enjoy yourself thoroughly. Help yourself to another help and it is my
This one is for free. This one is for me. I humbly make it my treat. This one is for free. This one is for me. I humbly make it my treat. God, have you ever felt like you were deserted? God, and you need to stop ever felt like you were deserting me? Have you ever felt like you were deserting me?
And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmaster, for I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto God, Who am I, that I should go unto the Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee when thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt. Ye shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, I shall say unto them, God of your fathers hath sent me unto you. And they shall say to me, What is his name? And what shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, Ahaya, Ashar, Ahaya, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Ahaya hath sent me unto you. And God said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, The Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations.
Shabbat Shalom, we're back, and we're going to say the prayer before the show. So let me go ahead and bring in Brother Yawanathan. Brother Yawanathan, Shabbat Shalom, are you there?
Yo, Shabbat Shalom, Mark. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm blessed, man. I'm alive. I can't complain.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Most deaf. So we're going to go ahead and get the Hebrew Credo and the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew, and then I'll read the translation from the scriptures.
Okay. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, in the name of His Son, Yeshua. I pray that you all have a peaceful and blessed Sabbath. Now we're going to get into the Hebrew Credo as well as the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. To all the brothers out there, please make sure that your head is uncovered. And to all the sisters out there, please make sure that your head is covered, according to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. So now with the Hebrew Credo. Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya, Allahaya Nava Ahaya Achad.
Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya, Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad.
Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya, Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Achad.
Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya, Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad.
Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya, Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Achad.
Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya, Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
That's Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. And now with the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash Haya Shemka, Ahaya Malakwatka, Taba'ah Ratazawunka, Haya Asha Ba'aratazah, Kawahaya Bashemayim, Nathan Nawa, Lacham Kal Yawam Wasalach Nawa, Kawawat Nawa, Kasalach Nawa, Kawawat Yanawa, Wala'a Tabi'a Nawa, Manasayawan Abal Hawashai Nawa, Manra Kayalaka, Hamalawat Waha'Allah Wahatapa'arit, La'iwalamyum, Aman.
All right, and I'm going to get the translation for the Lord's Prayer from the Hebrew to the English. You will go to Matthew chapter 6, verse 9, and it reads, after this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Or so be it. And we're going to get the scripture for the show, which is Matthew chapter 24, verse 20.
St. Matthew chapter St. Matthew chapter 24, verse 20. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day.
All right, so Matthew chapter 24, verse 20 is one of the many signs and warnings that Christ gave in the end times. This is primarily speaking of the abomination of desolation, which isn't just a one-time event. When you read the scriptures, you see it happen during the time of Maccabees. You've seen it happen during 70 A.D., and it's a program that's been implemented against the children of Israel over the ages. So it's something that is repeated over and over again to desolate and destroy the children of Israel, as Daniel chapter 7 says that he will wear out the saints of the Most High. All right, so understand that these time periods, the Sabbath and the winter time, we need to be ready. And on the Sabbath, we go into prophecy so that we can make sure that we are ready and know what's going on around us. So the first article that we have here comes off of CBSnews.com, dated May 2nd, 2013. And it says, one killed in Houston airport shooting. So, Brother Jonathan, if you could start there for us on this article where it says a man who had fired a gun.
Okay. A man who had fired a gun inside a ticketing area at Houston's largest airport was killed after being confronted by a law enforcement official during an incident that sent people in the terminal scrambling and screaming, police said Thursday. CBS News correspondent John Miller reported that the suspect, who is identified as Cornell Moore, walked into Terminal B at Bush International Airport, sat down, produced a pistol, and began firing into the ceiling. The two rounds that were fired sent passengers scattering in panic. The shot was heard by a special agent of Homeland Security Investigations. The HSI office is about 150 feet from the shooting. The agent ran toward the gunfire. Continued Miller identified him as a federal agent and ordered Moore to drop the gun. Moore turned toward the agent who fired, striking Moore in the upper body. At the same moment, Moore turned his own gun on himself and fired. Excuse me. Moore was dead at the scene. Excuse me. Inside a black suitcase next to where Moore was sitting, HSI, FBI, and Houston PD found a black suitcase that contains a Smith & Wesson AR-15 assault weapon with a fully loaded magazine.
All right, so stop right there. So we see here with this particular event that took place at the Houston airport, what we've come to witness and see at all of these mass shootings is the AR-15 assault weapon, the weapon that they're trying to ban. We saw it in Sandy Hook. We saw it at the Aurora shooting in Colorado, the Batman massacre. Pretty much every time you look up and there's a shooting, the AR-15 is always, the weapon. So we definitely see, something about this particular event that, raises some flags here. All right, read on.
In Moore's car, more .223 ammo for the weapon was found. Earlier in the day, Moore had posted on social media that he intended to commit a mass shooting today. A handwritten note found on Moore's body said he had changed his name and wanted to kill himself. Changed his mind and wanted to kill himself.
All right, so let's evaluate this for a second. On Facebook, he said he wanted to commit a mass shooting. All right, but then he gets to the airport and he just fires a couple rounds into the air. I mean, now, so a lot of this is starting to not make any sense. Why is he on Facebook saying he wants to do a mass shooting, but then gets to the airport and just shoots a couple rounds in the air, doesn't shoot at anybody, and is just shooting shots up in the air at the airport? Then later, a note found on his body saying, "Oh, I changed my mind and just wanted to kill myself." So that in itself sounds very strange with this event. All right, read on.
The terminal was closed immediately after the shooting, but later Thursday, parts of the terminal were reopened to passengers. The rest of the airport remained open after the shooting. Darian Ward, a spokeswoman for the Houston Airport system, said some passengers who were scheduled to leave from Terminal B were rerouted to other terminals. Dale Howard of Tumble was at the baggage handling area of the airport waiting for his sister to arrive on an incoming flight when he heard 2 shots fired from the floor above. A few seconds later, he said he heard 3 more shots. People were screaming. I knew exactly what it was. Gunfire, Howard said. Police from an adjacent station rushed in, and Howard said he directed them to the floor above. Greg Newbern, who was in the terminal waiting for a flight to Oklahoma City, said he was sitting in a cafe area when he heard 2 gunshots, and after a pause, several more. It sounded like quite a few shots. Everyone was scrambling, running left and running right, turning tables up and hiding under tables. Nobody knew what was happening. I couldn't tell where the shots were coming from, he said. Newborn from Gainesville, Florida, said it took him a few seconds to realize that the shots had come from the ticketing area near the security checkpoint.
Okay, so when this event took place, they ended up shutting down pretty much the whole airport. The whole airport was on lockdown behind this event. We know that they've, since 9/11, have been implementing a lot of laws to restrict and pass more restrictions at airports because of the fact that so-called planes hit the Twin Towers from terrorists. So here we have another situation where a man is shooting in an airport with an AR-15, talking about doing a mass shooting in an airport. So we can definitely look forward for this to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. For one, look for more security to be heightened at airports so that they can say that they can prevent things like this from happening in the future, situations like this from happening in the future. Also, the whole gun gun confiscation registration that's been going on since Sandy Hook and before that. Look for this also to line in with that agenda as well, with him carrying this AR-15 and talking about doing a mass shooting. Okay, so now moving forward to the next article, and this comes off of fortsnews.com. Last week we talked about the New Hampshire representative Stella Tremblay. She came out and spoke out against what happened in Boston, saying that she feels that it was a black ops situation and the government possibly had some involvement in it, and she wanted answers. All right. Since then, this article says, lawmaker receiving death threats after publicly calling for investigation of Boston Marathon bombing. And this is dated Friday, May 3rd, 2013. It says, just one day after her interview with Pete Santilli, New Hampshire Representative Stella Tremblay has started receiving death threats. Last week, the brave New Hampshire state representative came out with a controversial statement regarding the Boston Marathon bombing investigation, which caused a backlash from New Hampshire residents calling for her resignation, and has been grossly taken out of context by the mainstream media. Alarmingly, the extreme left and right-wing factions of New Hampshire politics are starting to call for more than her resignation. They want her dead. And the mainstream media is feeding the frenzy with false or incomplete information, sensationalized so as to maintain the cover-up. A lynch mob mentality rules in New Hampshire as a concerted effort is being formed to take Stella Tremblay out for good simply because she dared question the official story about the Boston Marathon bombing, a story being forced on her constituents by the FBI. Comments being posted from the constituents by the FBI, Comments being posted from the irate public by both Democrats and Republicans are starting to sound more and more dangerous, and Stella Tremblay has begun to fear she is being targeted by outraged mainstream media brainwashed citizens who are calling for her execution. In comment threads associated to articles accusing the New Hampshire representative of being a conspiracy theorist and anti-American, the language is becoming more and more violent as readers of this propaganda become agitated and filled with bloodlust, calling for her death. Every false flag terror event needs a political scapegoat, and it is evident Stella Tremblay may have unwittingly opened herself up for the role, as zombified Americans are beginning to offer her up as the official sacrifice to the gods of government. Stella Tremblay has openly admitted that up until the bombings in Boston, which occurred on April 15, 2013, she had never heard the term Black Ops, and she had no idea that her remarks about the event possibly being a pre-staged false flag would end up with her life being threatened. Supporters of the representatives are rushing to her defense, calling for her enemies to be calm and allow Ms. Tremblay to exercise her responsibility as an elected New Hampshire representative to publicly state her awareness that something is terribly wrong with the circumstances surrounding the event that took the life of 3 American citizens and reportedly injured and maimed dozens of others. Representative Tremblay has obviously not formed her opinions and made her controversial remarks based on conspiracy theory. She has publicly stated that she watched a YouTube presentation by former U.S. Army LTC Roy Potter, who she found to be credible and credentialed to discuss the high probability that the Boston Marathon bombing was a black op. All right, now there's more to this article, but I just want to stop right there. So again, we see that in America, if you go against the status quo, if you question government, if you question the mainstream media story about what they try to push on you, you are deemed a conspiracy theorist, a nutcase, and in this situation, you need to be executed. And this is what America is come to. Okay, so there's just more demonization of those that ask questions or speak truth. You are demonized, and your life is then threatened. Okay, so this is the culture of America. This is what it's come to. That they, especially in that position, they don't want somebody in that position to speak out because they have an effect over a large audience, and they're trying to keep as many people asleep and zombified as possible. All right, there's more to what's going on with this, but like I said, the rest is in this article if you choose to read more on it. But we're going to continue on to the next thing here. Let's see, what do we have? Okay, so we have we also have off of Before It's News. What's with all the explosions lately? Monday, April 29th, 2013. Says, in the last 2 weeks, there has been so many explosions, I lost count. April 15th, 2013, Boston Marathon, 2 explosions killed 3 injured 280 plus. April 17, 2013, West Texas fertilizer plant explodes, killing 15 and injuring 160 plus. Also, you had an explosion at Oklahoma City chemical plant on the same day. April 24, 2013, 2 fuel barges on the Mobile River explode, injuring 3 in Alabama. April 26, 2013, an underground cable explodes in London. April 27, 2013, tar sands refinery in Detroit explodes, injuring 1. Oil tankers explode in Harris County, Texas. So another explosion in Texas on that same day. April 28, 2013, explosion at an apartment complex in Reims, France, kills 3 and injures 14 others. April 29, 2013, explosion in Prague, Czech Republic, injures 40. Explosions seem to be the trend lately. I suspect they will continue for various reasons. I have not included terrorist attacks except for Boston in this list because there are just too many. Okay, so, and that was just for the month of April. If you go back before that, you see a lot of other explosions taking place, and people hearing booms and all types of explosions going on. So they're getting the public used to explosions going off, and it reminds me of the movie Unthinkable with Samuel L. Jackson, where he's trying to foil a terrorist plot where there's like 5 nuclear bombs placed in 5 major U.S. cities. And he's trying to, they're torturing basically this terrorist to try to find out what cities these nuclear bombs are located in. All right, so, you know, just understand that this is what's going on, this is what we're dealing with, these are the times we're living in. The next article, it says here, off of NewYorkDailyNews.com, NYDailyNews.com. It says NYPD subway test involving release of harmless gas set for summer. This is dated Wednesday, April 24th, 2013. It says the experiment is an effort to study how airborne materials spread through the system and to prepare defenses against possible incidents. So let's go to Brother Yawanathan. If you could start there where it says the NYPD will release harmless gases.
All right. The NYPD will release harmless gases into the subway this summer in an extensive test of how the material spreads through the system, officials said Wednesday. Cops will use the result to strengthen their tactics for responding to hazards ranging from possible chemical spills in the tunnels to potential terrorist attacks, officials said. The citywide testing, which will be conducted with the help of the U.S. Department of Energy's Brookhaven National Laboratory, will include the release of the gases in various subway lines and stations during 3 non-consecutive days in July, officials said. The NYPD works for the best, but plans for the worst when it comes to potentially catastrophic attacks, such as ones employing radiological contaminants or weaponized anthrax, Police Commissioner Raymond Kelly said in a statement. The field study with Brookhaven's outstanding expertise will help prepare and safeguard the city's population in the event of an actual attack. This study will be the biggest of its type ever conducted, officials said. A similar study was performed in Manhattan in 2005. Previous tests were conducted in the subway systems of Boston and Washington, D.C. Cops said the public will be given advance warning to the tests, which are not expected to delay any traffic. This study will bolster the NYPD's understanding of contaminant dispersion within the subway system as well as between the subway system and the street, thereby improving its ability to better protect both our customers and the city population at large, said Fernando Ferrer, acting chairman of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, which is assisting in this test. The project, dubbed S-Safe for Subway Surface Airflow Exchange, will be funded by a $3.4 million Department of Homeland Security Transit Security Grant, officials said.
All right, so what we want to take from this is understand that with all of these so-called terrorist attacks, which we know are false flags, you always have drills that are being ran in conjunction with these so-called terrorist attacks. During the time of the Boston bombing, there were drills being ran. Before the race, during the race, and up all the way to the explosions. During 9/11, there were drills being ran up until the time the planes hit the towers. Oklahoma City, when the bombing happened, there were drills being ran before Oklahoma City bombing took place. So I hope people understand that when it comes to these drills in large events or large populated areas, that we need to be aware, because if there's a drill going on in an area that you possibly may be looking to go to for whatever the case may be, you need to be mindful that you may want to rethink going to that area if they're doing drills, because chances are something could happen. And so they're putting this out, letting you know ahead time that they're planning on, releasing gases into New York subway system as a test for 3 days for potential terrorist attacks. So it's not only not saying that something's going to happen, but it's more conditioning to let you know it's a possibility, to plant that in your mind and into your subconscious, so that you think, hey, it's a possibility. Terrorists could do this. We need to cooperate with law enforcement and these people doing these drills and help them out so we can stop these terrorist attacks. This is the typical mind of somebody that's living in America, that's conditioned and brainwashed by the media and their government. But we have to recognize what these things really mean. All right. So moving on to the next article, we have off of usnews.nbcnews.com. One moment. Let's see here. FBI adds first woman to list of most wanted terrorists. And this is dated, let's see, let me get the date here, 1 day ago. So this was yesterday, May 2nd. I'm going to read it here. It says, the FBI put a woman on its list of most wanted terrorists for the first time Thursday. A 1970s black radical who authorities say shot a New Jersey trooper made a daring daylight escape from prison and fled to Cuba. The agency and the state also doubled the bounty for her capture to $2 million. The announcement was the latest turn in the 40-year saga of Joanne Chizmard, also known as Assata Shakur, who was part of the Black Liberation Army and became one of the most notorious fugitives in New Jersey history. While we cannot right the wrongs of the past, we can and will continue to pursue justice no matter how long it takes, said Aaron Ford, special agent in charge of the FBI's Newark office. In a direct appeal to Chizmard, he said, give yourself up, come to America, and face justice. Chizmard was found guilty of murder in the killing of Trooper Werner Forster, who was shot dead on May 2nd, 1973, after stopping her and two associates. The trooper was finished off with his own gun, and the FBI says Chizmard's gun was found at his side. She was convicted in 1977 and sent to prison, but she broke out 2 years later with the help of accomplices from the BLA and the Weather Underground, a left-wing radical organization. Chizmard lived in a safe house before fleeing to Cuba, where she took the Shakur name and was shielded from the United States by the communist government of Fidel Castro. She is now 65. Authorities took note on the 40th anniversary of the trooper's killing and said Chizmard's capture would close a wound for New Jersey State Police and prove that they will not give up when one of their own is slain. Asked whether authorities were encouraging bounty hunters in Cuba, New Jersey Attorney General Jeffrey Cheesa said, "I'm not going to get into exact means. What we're saying is there's now $2 million for her safe return to New Jersey that's available." In Cuba, Chizmart has mostly disappeared from the public eye. Her story gained prominence again in 1998 when Pope John Paul II made a visit there. There, a television reporter found Chizmart, who claimed she was a victim of a racist prosecution. The governor of New Jersey was furious, and the state police wrote to the Pope to ask him to put pressure on Castro to return Chizmart. But frosty relations between the U.S. and Cuba have frustrated American efforts to get her back ever since. Forrest said Chizmart remains an inspiration to the radical left-wing anti-government black separatist movement. He said there was no specific new threat that led the Bureau to add her to the list. Some of those people and the people that espouse those ideas are still in this country, he said. So we'd be naive not to think that there's some communication between her and the people she used to run around with. Chizmart, who is the step-aunt of late rapper Tupac Shakur, is the 46th person added to the list of most wanted terrorists since George Bush established it after September 11 attacks. Osama bin Laden was on the list until he was killed in 2011. All right, so we're starting maybe possibly to see the script being turned to blacks being the new terrorists. With after 40 years, of this incident happening, now they want to put Assata Shakur on the FBI most wanted list as the first woman. And you can go and do your own research, and there's two sides to every story. Those familiar with the Black Panther Party understand and know that during the time that the Black Panthers were in operation, that they were for the betterment of the black community. They were for feeding our people. They were for the medicine for our people. And they were for protection of our people, since we were being killed in droves by police and suffering from police brutality. They were known to carry guns, everywhere with them that they went until they passed the law, banning people from carrying guns out in public like that. So, they're made to be a radical communist extremist group, of course, because of the fact that what they stood for. They were demonized, and you had the FBI leading the way with Hoover, with J. Edgar Hoover, at the forefront to neutralize the Black Panther movement. And what he did was he was successful with sending drugs into the communities, and this is what started the whole crack epidemic during the 80s. And they've used drugs, illegal drugs, to neutralize all those black movements. And you look at the aftermath of these drugs, and now we are in gangs and the drug dealers that are selling the poison to our people and killing each other, and then going to jail, getting caught with these drugs, and they're the ones shipping the drugs in. You can actually watch the movie Panther that came out in 1995, and it actually shows all of these things happening in the movie. And with this particular story with Assata Shakur, she always claimed her innocence, that these police were actually brutalizing her, and it was self-defense. But as you see, it was a racist jury, and she was convicted. Of course, when you have a system that's set up, and you see all these Black Panthers going to jail, it wasn't just Assata Shakur. You also had Afeni Shakur, which was Tupac's mom, who was also sent to prison, and she also said that the government and the police worked together to wrongfully set her up. And then you had all throughout while Tupac was alive, he was always being taken to court behind different situations. He always would get off because the police were always either tampering with evidence. In one situation, I believe in Atlanta, there was a black male that was pulled over by the police, and Tupac stopped to help, and the police tried to shoot and kill Tupac, but he happened to get a gun off of them to defend himself and shoot the police in self-defense. And this gun just so happened to be a gun from the evidence room, which completely destroyed any case that they had to try to convict him of, threatening an officer or, trying to kill an officer or whatnot. So this is the corrupt system that we face on a daily basis for, part of the curses of trying to survive in this system that's set up, for us to fail and to be crabs in a barrel, steadily pulling each other down. All right, so I thought that article was definitely interesting on, be on the lookout for them maybe possibly trying to spin this new terrorism over to black radicals, as they said that this particular idea that she was when she was in America still exists in America, that there are still people in America with these anti-government mentality, and that they'd be a fool not to think that she's not still communicating with these people. All right, so we've even seen this with the Israelite movement, where they've done the same thing to try to demonize Israelites. You have Israelites that are, very extreme and radical with their teachings on the corners that we don't ascribe to, which gives the movement a black eye. So this is all a setup to keep these racial tensions going, and to further keep us on the bottom in bondage to the system. And we'll talk about more of that later in detail in the second segment. I'm going to touch on that later as well. All right, so let's move to the next article here. Let's go to ChristianWire.com. All right, ChristianWire.com, and the article reads here, Judge Roy Moore to testify in court-martial of Navy chaplain who dared to express his faith while in uniform. So, Brother Jonathan, if you could read there where it says, Lieutenant Klingensmith deserves our prayers.
Hold on, all right. This the Christian Newswire article?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I see it now. Okay. All right. Arlington, Virginia, September 11th. Lieutenant Klingensmith deserves our prayers and support for his dedication to duty and religious freedom, declares Judge Roy Moore, who will testify on behalf of court-martialed U.S. Navy chaplain. A court-martial hearing will convene at the Naval Station in Norfolk, Virginia on Tuesday, September 12th, for U.S. Navy Chaplain Gordon James Klingensmith, who is facing court-martial for praying in his faith tradition in Jesus' name at a public event while in uniform. Last week, a Navy judge ruled that public worship is not the same as worshiping in public, declaring that a lawful order can be given that would prohibit worship outside of a chapel setting on Sunday morning. According to this judge, public worship is restricted to Sunday mornings alone, says Janet Folger, president of Faith to Action and author of The Criminalization of Christianity. While our soldiers are fighting for freedom abroad, our own chaplains are facing court-martial and persecution from our own government for praying for them, said Folger. Where does the Constitution say that freedom of religion is limited to 1 hour? Janet Folger, president of Faith to Action and author of The Criminalization of Christianity, will attend the court-martial and will be available for comment.
Okay, so we have a situation now to where if you're in the military and you are exercising your faith as a believer in Christ, you can be court-martialed. They said that, your faith is limited to Sundays, sitting in a chapel in that setting. Anything outside of that is not allowed. You can be court-martialed. Now, to go with this, there's also some more information that I saw this week. You have this company that makes scopes, and they were actually engraving scriptures on the side of these scopes, and now the military and the government is now banning them, and that they have to recall all of the scopes that they were making to take these scriptures off, and all of those scopes that are out there now have to be blacked out, and you know, these engravings have to be marked over so that these scriptures don't show. So now we're starting to see the persecution of Christians coming into play. Those say that they believe in Christ on a higher level. This is another step up. Now we saw the persecution of the New Hampshire Senate representative for speaking out on what happened with the Boston Marathon. You have the sister in Cuba who fled for her life. Now she's been put on the FBI most wanted list, first woman, black woman. You have now you have Christians that are soldiers being court-martialed for exercising their Christian faith. Okay, so if we don't see that people that are standing up and believing in truth and trying to speak out for truth are being demonized and attacked on a high level, and see that, you know, all of this is happening around the same time and building up. And this is coming in conjunction with what happened earlier this week when you had an NBA player named Jason Collins come out of the so-called quote-unquote closet and was put on the Sports Illustrated front cover as as admitting that he's a homosexual, and Obama calling him up and praising him for his courage and commending him for his bravery to come out and to do what he did. Now, when I first seen this, I said to myself, this isn't an announcement. This is a promotion. They are promoting homosexuality, which is sodomy, and they're putting it right in your face and saying you're going to like what this is, and you don't have a choice to like it. And if you speak out against it, then you are subject to be demonized. Maybe even your life be put in danger, because you see what's happening with Christians. You see what's happening with those speaking out just against just anything that's the truth. You are being attacked and persecuted, and this is in Bible prophecy. When you read Matthew 24, it speaks of this exactly, and this is just the surface of us being scratched here with what's going on. This is just the foreshadowing of what's to come. So it's to the point now to where the sodomites or the homosexuals have come completely out of the closet and let you know boldly that they run they're in control, and that they've been in control for a long while, but now they're becoming more bold and let you know, hey, we're here, this is us, and we're the ones in charge and in power at the top. And it kind of started last year in the summertime when Obama came out in an interview and said that he now fully supports same-sex marriages, when for at least a decade he said that a union or a marriage is between a man and a woman. So all the time he was just putting up a front to later, after his he's pretty much a shoo-in for re-election, now to come out and fully support homosexual marriage, which isn't marriage at all. It's an abomination. And then, of course, they must stick together. Sodomites will stick together. So, of course, he would only call Jason Collins up and commend him on what he did. Now, to prove even more that this is a promotion, that they're promoting this is not an announcement. I mean, because for one thing, if you want to live an abominable lifestyle, then you have to live with that. That's going to be your judgment. Okay, but you keep that to yourself behind closed doors. There's not a situation where you must let the whole world know that that's what you're doing and to be proud of it. Okay, you don't see people that are heterosexuals coming out and saying, hey, look at me, I'm a heterosexual, put me on the front cover of Sports Illustrated or a magazine, because it's normal. It's the way things are intended to be. So anytime that you see this, you know that it's wrong, just based on the fact of how it's being done. Also, I listened to the interview of Jason Collins speak, and they asked him what was his influence, who was his influence to come out and do what he did, and he admitted, and he maybe gave himself away. He said that one of the people behind Sports Illustrated was in his corner, and it was his idea for him to come out and do this. It was his idea. It wasn't Jason Collins' idea. They came to him with the idea and said, let's do this. And this is what happened. The same way that those familiar with the Dave Chappelle Oprah interview, when they brought the dress to Dave Chappelle and said, you're going to put this, why don't you put this dress on? It'll be funny. Okay, those aren't our ideas. That's their ideas that they want us to do to ridicule us and to put us in this bad light with the Most High, because it's abomination in His sight. So this is what's going on, and this should be all the writing on the wall. What's going on for what time it is for America? It's judgment time. Any time where you have homosexuality running a high rampant rate. I mean, this is an infestation of homosexuals and sodomites running loose in America. An infestation. That it is judgment time. Every time in history, these places were judged. Okay, and we know the book of Revelations refers to America as spiritual Sodom. It's not the ancient Sodom and Gomorrah, but it is the spiritual or the modern day, where it is promoted and put into your face, and it's going to be accepted as the new norm. Now, on a brighter note, you had a brother by the name of Antoine Dodson, and I wasn't familiar with who he was or anything like that, but I guess he's kind of in the light or a spotlight or whatnot, and in a certain degree, come out and say that he understands that he's a black Israelite, that he is an Israelite, that he is the chosen people, and he comes from Jacob, and he's renouncing his homosexuality and saying it's wrong. So in the same turn where we see Jason Collins come out and be glorified for what he did, now you see a brother come out and denounce it, and at the same time let people know who are the real Israelites, and that the fame and the fortune and the money is not worth it. And so to see this, we still have to wait and see what happens, but just to see this, we see the struggle between good and evil. We know it's a spiritual fight that's happening. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with principalities. So this is a spiritual warfare that's going on right now between Satan and the Most High. And we have to make a stand to stand up for what's right and what's true, even if it means our life until our death, because this is what the beast is going to do. It's going to get us to worship its image, and for those that won't worship its image or take its mark will receive death. And this is the mentality we must have. It's going to try to get us to deny Christ, and to deny Christ is to deny anything that goes against the Most High. So people think that denying Christ is just if you say that Yeshua, whom the world calls Jesus, didn't come. He didn't come. That's denying Christ. No, anything that goes against the Most High is denying Christ. Anything that goes against His law, His commandments, His ways is against Christ. So you're an antichrist. Okay, I don't care how much you scream Jesus or how much you say that you love God, or how many times you go to church on Sunday, or how much money you spend on tithes and offerings in the church. You're an antichrist if you're going against the laws of this book called the Bible. So, there's a lot that's going on around these events. So we'll definitely keep an eye out to see, what happens next, because this is going to open the door now. Now that Jason Collins has set the stage, this is going to open the door for homosexuals to start coming out in droves in the NBA, the NFL, Major League, because it's rampant with homosexuality. These men are dealing with it, dibbling and dabbling in it. People like LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, those guys are when they get into these parties and these initiations, they must go through these rituals in order to get that big deal, that big contract, or that big endorsement. So a lot of them, you know, are heavy into to sodomite activities. And there was an announcement maybe a few weeks back about 4 NFL players getting together with the Players Union to make an announcement at the same time about coming out that they were gay. You had maybe a week or two ago, I forget the woman's name, but she's played for Baylor, and she's supposed to be the number 1 pick for the Women's Basketball Association. She came out and said she was gay, which pretty much everybody already knew. But so these people are starting to come out and push their lifestyle because this is the aggressiveness of these spirits that are dealing with these activities of sodomy. All right, so let's just make sure that we're standing up, speaking out in any opportunity we get, and letting it be known. So moving on to the next article. And this comes out before it's news.com. Dated Monday, April 29, 2013. It says, Israel bombs Syria, uses weapons of mass destruction as excuse. It says CIA-controlled al-Qaeda operatives in Syria are reporting Israeli warplanes have begun bombing Syria to destroy targets claimed to be chemical weapons plants. The bombings occurred over the weekend as the corporate media has gone into full-spin propaganda push to drum up support for military intervention, claiming Syria crossed a red line by using chemical weapons. The tailspin of rhetoric comes as the CIA has admitted it is arming al-Qaeda and hackers, recently revealed the U.S. hired mercenaries to use chemical weapons in Syria so it could be blamed on the government. So for the past couple of weeks, you've seen Syria being accused of using chemical weapons. The mainstream media all over it, of course, like always, to push this onto your mind, to accept it, that this is what it is without any proof, and to get you ready. So when the time does come and war breaks out, you're already conditioned to know why and to accept it. It says the Free Syrian Army reports that Israeli fighter jets slipped into Damascus over the weekend and bombed a chemical weapons depot outside the city. Neither Damascus nor Jerusalem have confirmed the attack. According to the Jewish press, many reports came in over the weekend confirming the mission. Sources told the JP Israeli jets arrived over Damascus early Saturday morning and circled Assad's presidential compound before moving on to target the weapons site. All right, when you go down, it has also exclusive U.S. trains rebel brigades to secure chemical weapons. It says the U.S. and its allies have hired contractors to train some Syrian rebel brigades in chemical weapons security. Syria deeply has exclusively learned from 4 diplomats, including 1 U.S. official. All right, so they're actually training the Syrian rebels in Turkey and Jordan to go in and for chemical weapons security. Okay, you go down some of this article, it says here, hackers expose U.S. chemical weapon false flag to frame Syria. Hacked emails from a British mercenary company were posted online, leading to claims Washington was backing a dirty war against Syria in which a chemical attack on Syria could be blamed on the Syrian regime, thereby strengthening the case for immediate intervention on the part of the U.S. military. British mercenary company Brigham Defense has since admitted it was hacked, but claimed the hacker who posted his online name as JEWEDuP had maliciously and cleverly used hacked material to generate forgeries to destroy the company's reputation and make it look like it was involved in shocking behavior. So, of course, they're not going to admit it. Why would they admit if that was the case? It says here, according to a spokesman from the company, it was really a risk management firm and not a mercenary company like those hired by the U.S. Defense Department to carry out military operations in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. All right, so there's a lot more to this article, but just know that the media is all over this possible chemical weapons used by the Syrian government as a pretext to go in and start admittedly arming the rebels and joining in on the fight in Syria. All right, so let's go to the next article here. This comes off investmentwatchblog.com. It says, China is on fire. China orders troops and tanks to North Korean border, deploys anti-aircraft carrier missiles off coast of Taiwan, sends more than 40 fighter jets to Senkaku Islands, and warns Philippines to immediately withdraw from disputed islands. April 28, 2013. China is reportedly beefing up its military presence on the North Korean border amid heightening tensions in the region. The troop mobilization is said to be taking place along with deployment of dozens of tanks in the strategically important border region with North Korea, which is separated by the Yalu River. The Chinese military is on high alert over the ongoing tensions in the Korean Peninsula. All right. China has deployed near Taiwan a powerful missile designed to take out U.S. aircraft carriers as Beijing strengthens its ability to prevent U.S. forces from aiding Taiwan during potential conflict. The development of the DF-21D anti-ship ballistic missile comes as China's army develops greater long-range and offensive capabilities. Those advances pose a challenge to U.S. forces as Washington looks to build up its military presence in the East Asia to balance out China's rising might. All right, let's see here. Chinese fighter jets swarming near Senkaku Islands. And it says the flights took place on Tuesday when 8 Chinese Marine surveillance ships entered the 12 nautical mile territorial zone off the islands in the East China Sea, which Japan calls the Senkakus and China calls the Diaoyus, the Sankai Shimbun newspaper reported. So we see military drills continuing to escalate and build up in China. You also had military drills going on in the Persian Gulf as well this week. Major military drills going on in the Persian Gulf. So when we see these drills happening, understand that it's more of the wars and rumors of war prophecy that Christ warned us of to be on watch for, to know before his second return and before during the tribulation period to know when things are about to get intense. And we got one more article here, and then we'll go to the call lines. So for those that have any comments or questions on this week's news, simply you can call the guest call-in number 646-200-4309 and just press the number 1. That'll put you in the calling queue, and we'll take your calls after this article here. And this comes off of WND.com. It says here, Americans snapping by the millions. Published March 21st, 2013. It says terrorism, chaos, fear of the future. In the age of Obama, America is undergoing a fundamental transformation. That much everyone knows. And just to add to it, this is that change that Obama promised America before he took office for his campaign, his whole campaign spiel. It says here, but what few seem to realize about this transformation is that the sheer stress of living in today's America is driving tens of millions to the point of illness, depression, and self-destruction. Consider the following trends. Suicide has surpassed car crashes as the leading cause of injury, death for Americans. Let me read that again. Suicide has surpassed car crashes as the leading cause of injury, death for Americans. Even more disturbing, in the world's greatest military, more U.S. soldiers died last year by suicide than in combat. Fully 1/3 of the nation's employees suffer chronic, debilitating stress, and more than half of all millennials, 18 to 33-year-olds, experience a level of stress that keeps them awake at night, including large numbers diagnosed with depression or anxiety disorder. Shocking new research from the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that 1 in 5 of all high school-aged children in the U.S. have been diagnosed with ADHD. And likewise, a large new study of New York City residents shows, sadly, that 1 in 5 preteens, children ages 6 to 12, have been medically diagnosed with either ADHD, anxiety, depression, or bipolar disorder. And I just want to make a comment here. All of those are spirits. So when you're dealing in a place that is a habitation of devils and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird, then these depressions and these anxiety disorders start to come in, because it's just so much that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. The culture in America is a perfect combination to brew these conditions. New research concludes that stress renders people susceptible to serious illness, and a growing number of studies now confirm that chronic stress plays a major role in the progression of cancer, the nation's second biggest killer. The biggest killer of all, heart disease, which causes 1 in 4 deaths in the U.S., is also known to have a huge stress component. Incredibly, 11% of all Americans aged 12 and older are currently taking SSRI antidepressants, those highly controversial, mood-altering psychiatric drugs with the FDA's suicidality warning label and alarming correlation with school shooters. So even on the warning label of these drugs, it tells you that it has the ability to possibly cause you to want to commit suicide. Women are especially prone to depression, with a stunning 23% of all American women in their 40s and 50s, almost 1 in 4, now taking antidepressants according to a major study by the CDC. Okay, add to that tens of millions of users of all other types of psychiatric drugs, including, just to pick one, the 6.4 million American children between 4 and 17 diagnosed with ADHD and prescribed Ritalin or similar psychostimulants. Throw in the 28% of American adults with a drinking problem, that's more than 60 million, plus the 22 million using illegal drugs like marijuana, cocaine, heroin, hallucinogens, and inhalants, and pretty soon a picture emerges of a nation of drug takers with hundreds of millions dependent on one toxic substance or another, legal or illegal, to help them deal with the stresses and problems of life. By the way, things are no better over the pond. It may be worse, according to one major study that concluded almost 40% of Europeans are plagued by mental illness. So the Western world dealing with a high level of mental illness, which are spirits. Okay, so it says here, what on earth is going on? Why isn't medical science, and for that matter, all of our incredible scientific and technological innovations in every area of life, reducing our stress and lightening our load? Why doesn't the almost magical availability of the world's accumulated knowledge, thanks to the internet, make us more enlightened and happy? Why is it that instead more and more of us are so stressed out as to be on a collision course with illness, misery, tragedy, and death? Most important, what can we do to reverse course? So basically, to answer that question, when you have a country that's known supposedly as the world's greatest medical industry, it's because the Job tells us, the book of Job tells us that they are forgers of lies and they are physicians of no value. So when they're giving you chemicals as prescription medicine, which may cause you to commit suicide, and they have a long list of side effects, possible side effects, this should be apparent as to why things are getting worse and not better, because it's intended to get worse. It's intended to keep you coming back for more answers. Now this is bothering me. Okay, well, let me give you this pill, and that pill is going to give you side effects. So you constantly stay sick. Not to mention all the food, the GMO food, the fluoridated and poisonous water, the chemtrailed air. All of this is designed to keep you sick, and with everything else thrown in that's going on in America, to keep you depressed, stressed, and with anxiety. So I want to read a scripture here, and then we're going to go to the call lines. And the reason why the Most High told us to come out of Babylon, it's a lot more to it than, okay, we know he's going to destroy America. We know plagues are going to come. But in the meantime, dealing with these plagues and these spirits, let's go to the book of Micah. Let's go to the book of Micah. All right, Micah chapter 2. And Brother Yawanathan, if you could get verse 10 and read that for us. One moment. I forgot you dropped. Let me bring you back into the queue. One moment. One moment.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I got you in now. Okay. Yeah, so if you could read Micah chapter 2, verse 10.
All right. Micah chapter 2, verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction.
So the Most High, when he says, come out of her, my people, so you partake not in her plagues, or you partake not in her sins and receive not of her plagues, he's telling us to arise and depart, for this is not your rest. America is not our rest. It's not our home. We're not from there. It is the place of our captivity. Because why? It is polluted. America is polluted. Spiritually, mentally, and physically, on all levels, it's polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. So this is the sore destruction and the pollution that we are dealing with by being in America. We are being destroyed on every level of dealing with her, because a whore is not clean. When you're dealing with a whore, there's your sword destruction. All right, so the Most High is letting us know, you come out of her, you partake not in her sins, because everything is set up for you to sin in America. I mean, you can't even look on a billboard without seeing a homosexual being glorified all in your face. You can't even escape it. Breathe the air, chemtrails, pollution. Those are the plagues. Just some of the plagues. So just wanted to get that scripture, and we're going to go ahead and go to the call lines now. This is Friday Night Sabbath coming out of Babylon on blogtalkradio.com for the Gathering of Christ Church. We have the first caller from the 254 area code. 254 area code 4917. Shabbat Shalom, are you there? Caller from the 254 area code, are you there? All right, let's go to the next caller. Caller from the 646 area code 0384, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello?
Yes, Shabbat Shalom. You're on the air.
Shabbat Shalom, brother.
Area code 03.
I'm calling to give comment on the subject that was being discussed today about these athletes coming out of the closet, saying that they're coming out with their gay rights and everything like this. I truly believe that this is nothing but a ploy that the government has come up with to have these brothers to promote homosexuality in our society even more, as well as the fact that they are trying to degrade machismo, attitude within our societies, especially amongst African Americans and the Latino groups. A man has to show forth himself as a man, and most of our cultures like this. So like these guys coming out of the closet in these sports groups and things that our children look up to, gives the children the attitude that they also can lead a life of homosexuality as well.
Exactly, and I agree with you 100%. You know, it's designed, not just for us, but definitely the children, to target them. Because if you can take away their innocence, and you can, and matter of fact, these sodomites, majority, if not all of them, the reason that they're in the condition that they're in is because sometimes in childhood, and they grow up in a certain type of way and thinking that this is how it should be. Those spirits come into them as a child, and then going forward, they think that it's normal to feel that way.
Precisely, yes. And not only that, but amongst women, like most of them that turn to homosexuality is either influenced by others who they look up to of a female nature, or they have been like sexually abused. Probably someone within their family or someone that they have trust. Now this was a study that was done back way in the 90s, because I was working for a hospital at the time, and working within a virology clinic, and this was a study that one of the doctors was doing, and
right.
It proved that was that one of the things that was backing the push, like lesbianism mostly.
Right. And here's the thing that you have to look at is that notice how in more recent history who this is geared to. You have a black athlete that is coming out doing this, and it's in the NBA, which is a predominantly black sport.
Yes.
He's the forerunner now. He's the first, what they said, the first major sport player, current player that come out and made this statement. And it's a black man.
To tell you the truth, I never even heard of the gentleman before him coming out. Have you?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I watched basketball, and I've seen him when he first came into the league, so I knew who he was. He has a twin brother, and I knew who he was.
Okay.
And not only that, not only a black athlete, but then on top of that, you have a black president calling to congratulate his courage. So you have two black men patting each other on the back about being embracing sodomy. And think about what this does to our people.
Exactly. First of all, with the children, promotes confusion, and then with the confusion, curiosity to why the adults is like looking into all of this immorality. But and they get the sense that it's okay, which is basically what they want to do.
Exactly.
To give them that sense.
Exactly. That's exactly what they want to do. And just as I brought up earlier, it's absolutely their agenda to promote it, because, again, it wasn't even his idea to do it. They came to him with the idea. Sports Illustrated, one of the Sports Illustrated executives came to him, and it's pretty much pushed him out to do it. It wasn't even, a situation where he said, I want to come out and do this. It's kind of like, let's push you up to the forefront as a forerunner and as a poster child. Now, to add to this, we also have to look at the Willie Lynch syndrome and the fact of what our community and our nation has been dealing with since slavery, which is to take the black male out of the home and to have a single parent home where you have women raising children, and you have men who grow up looking at their mother as their father. They look at exactly, and they grow up not having that male influence to teach them, how it's supposed to be, and to be a man, and this is more of a opportunity for them to be susceptible to this homosexuality or this sodomite agenda. So we have to analyze this thing from all different levels on how it's pushed upon us. And then, not only that, but once our people start going into the sodomite lifestyle, it's eugenics, because now there's no production or reproduction of our race. So you have
right. That's the biggest thing they're promoting.
Exactly.
And then our young women get the sense that I don't want to have children and everything. Like I speak to young women nowadays, and they all have the sense that they don't want to produce children. And I said, why? That is your function in life. Well, I don't want to deal with horrible children. And I'm like, if you raise your child right within the word of God, you will not have a horrible child. That's all up to you.
Exactly.
And if you keep your man in his life, and like have a husband and raise your child in the ways of the Most High, then you will not have that situation.
It won't even be an issue, because that man will be there to make sure it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
He'll be there to guide him and train him up, as the scriptures say, the way he should go.
Exactly, but unfortunately, a lot of these women they got the party mode, they got the party going on. Even the older ones, like the ones that's in their 40s and all, they have the idea that they're still young, and that the party girl mentality and all. And these are not women that are not that are free. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't have a relationship or even a husband. These are women that both have a relationship and a husband at home.
Mhm.
And it's like total anarchy with our society, and no one seems to realize that the morality of our society is diminishing daily. And it's like everyone is totally subliminal to to everything that's going on because they're stuck in the TVs, they're stuck on the music, and they're stuck on like who said what about who.
Exactly, the gossiping, and let me say this too. And I'm not talking about the women that are in the church or that are in the truth. Okay, when I'm talking about black women, I'm talking about those that are in the world that are caught up into the American dream and image. Is, if you notice, they're the main ones that are accepting these sodomites and there to fight for them. They're fighting for them to have the opportunity to be a sodomite and embracing them as their friends and acting like it's okay. And you know, for a lot of it, I can understand because a lot of our sisters do get constantly harassed by men. So maybe in a sense, it's good to be around a man that's not constantly harassing you, trying to get with you. And they embrace it as they do. They look at them as girlfriends, you know. So, but the whole thing of it is that as long as the women are there accepting it as being okay, they don't understand that this is a direct attack on you. It's a reason why there's no good black men, because you're accepting these men being sodomites. You're promoting it.
Brother, you're absolutely right. But like it's like the good men that are out there, the women see them as punks. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't chastise them, berate them, belittle them, or even push them around and bully them. If a man treats you that way, then they think that's love.
Right.
They think that this man really cares about her. This whole situation that this society has brought upon our women has truly destroyed our relationship with them.
Right. And just to go with what you're saying, if Isaiah 5:20 isn't in full effect to put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter and good for evil and evil for good, to where a good man is now looked at in a negative light, a man that stands up and follows the commandments and does the things of the Most High is despised and looked at as not being a good man by our women of our nation, those that are into the world and not into the truth, and looked at as, like you said, the men that will beat you and misuse you and treat you any kind of way and in and out of jail and always in the streets or in the club. Those are the men that you embrace because the image of the beast is what you accept. This is how it's supposed to be. This is what I love the image of it all.
Right.
So, and that's why only a remnant of our people are going to make it, because we do not want to accept righteousness. We want to accept the wickedness. It's the same way in the garden, Adam and Eve, where Eve and Adam partook in the tree of good and evil, and because it felt good. It felt let's do this because it feels so right, but it was so wrong, and that's what Satan has done. He's beguiled and fooled the whole world to accepting that fruit, that forbidden fruit, and that forbidden fruit is a culture, which is the culture of America, which is the image of the beast.
Right. Well, not only that, brother, but that was something that I was reading online the other day about someone was saying something about truth, and they say that truth is accepting yourself and knowing yourself and all. But to me, truth is knowing the Most High and having the Most High examine you through the Word, showing you yourself, because we lie to ourselves so much in our heart, like the Word says, the man's heart is deceitful. Who really knows their heart? You know what I'm saying? And the only way that you can truly know yourself is by being the reflection of the Most High, show you through His Word. Because He's going to strip away all the lies that you tell to yourself and show you who you really are and what you're dealing with. And I quickly responded to that in that manner to that message that someone threw out there, and I never got a response back because I guess that was something that they didn't want to hear, because it seems like everybody got this righteous, you want to be righteous, but truly don't want to be righteous in the manner of the Most High standards. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, so this is where we're at, and we have to take a stand. Like I said at the beginning, we have to take a stand and not allow, this to happen, at least amongst us. And we can't control what somebody else does, but we can't just sit back on the sidelines and just sit on our hands and think it's going to be okay, that we won't give an account for not speaking out against the wickedness. The way that all the prophets spoke out against the wickedness that was going on in their time, and were cast in prison, and were persecuted, and were killed. So the real, true followers of the Most High have to stand up, and believe it or not, we are waking up, and we are coming together, and we are building our community up. But we can't get caught slipping, because as you see, Satan is like a lion roaring, seeking who he may devour. He's not taking any rest. He's not resting 1 second. So we can't be caught, off guard down.
That's where the battle lies, brother. Because not only do you have to battle against your inner demons, but you got to battle the ones that's outside of you as well. And that's why the Most High said, only those that endure to the end shall be saved. Because in truth, you're constantly in a spiritual war, and it's about to become a physical war on the seriousness. Because they are making serious plans and moves to get this thing going, where they camps and start shooting down in the middle of the street.
Hey, every day you see more and more. They're taking serious steps forward. I mean, they're moving faster and faster with their steps, and their strides are getting longer and longer. So, but most definitely appreciate you calling in and sharing your thoughts with us for the show. Definitely appreciate that.
Be blessed, brother. Shabbat
all right, you
shalom.
too. Okay, Shabbat Shalom. All right, and if you could press the number 1, caller from the 646 area code to exit the call queue. There's also one more thing I wanted to bring up while we're still kind of on the news subject, is that we had a possible May Day, May 1st, Beltane blood ritual sacrifice. You had Chris Kelly from Crisscross died from a possible drug overdose in Atlanta. So that happened on May 1st, and so that's definitely looking like, we see how these stars, these so-called stars, and these entertainers die by the hands of drug overdoses and these bizarre deaths, young ages, and on these key dates. It's hard to believe that, that's a coincidence. And, so just wanted to put that out there, too, for those that may not have known about that happening. All right, so let me go ahead and we got Brother Kamar in the studio. We're going to go ahead and bring him in next. Just waiting for him to come back here. Let's see. Okay, let me go to, we have Kessa with a question.
Hello, Shalom.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
Well, first of all, thank the Father and the Messiah. And I must just say, me and my husband, we had such a great yesterday lesson you guys had, especially when your elders, you said you guys came out as well. Your heterosexual. Oh my goodness! Please forgive me, Elder, but I think I almost fell out. We laughed so hard. That was so funny.
Yeah,
that's so much. My goodness.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
But it was how you say? I was very serious because it's like, my goodness. How you say? Going say 12. I'll be 38 this year. You understand?
Right.
Growing up, you couldn't talk about want no mess like that. Oh no. You couldn't look that way. You couldn't say that way. If you were around different folks, you know, my people, you was getting hurt.
Right.
You understand? You know what I'm saying? So now you talking 20 years later. Young brother told me he come out from mother he's gay, and I'm just like, okay, brother, I like basketball. I gotta see that too. And,
right.
You know, we already know. Me and husband, we always say it's always a plantation. Regardless, it's a good one. You get all these benefits, yeah. You get all this money, all this stuff, but it's still a plantation. If you get hurt, you get this, you're gone. They can care less about you. You understand?
Right.
So when we see something like this, we're just like, okay, well, you know, whatever. But then you see something like that, you're like, oh man. Now you're seeing and the children see this now, and that's okay. If those parents are not children, are saying to those children, they're saying, well, honey, it's okay. If that young man is gay, he can do that. You can do that too. Oh my goodness, it's a big thing that they're trying to do with us.
And here's my question: how much longer do people think the Most High is just going to sit on His hands and not bring judgment to America?
Boy. My darling dear, you know, I always laugh. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes with I can't read too much, like the headache. Yeah. Until I saw scripture, Father says it all day long. Yo, know who I am. Do what I say. If you do not do what I say to you, oh man, it's gonna be a problem when my son comes back. Yo, all scripture. You know, and I was telling you this. We had to leave, so we didn't get last night. As we were coming home, all we heard was like a big blowing, like something was like blowing up. You understand? The same thing. You understand? We are about 30 minutes away from that big thing that happened by Waco. You understand?
Wow.
All of a sudden, you saw all these. I kid you not, Elvin. You heard all these police, yeah. Then a whole bunch of
fire trucks.
Yes, thank you. And then EMS, and we were like, what in the world happened? But being that I had to get everything for the Sabbath, I didn't have a chance to look. But it seems like it's the same thing. They're willing to put here, so they can say, okay, well, you can't come out of this country anymore. You know, this is things that are going to happen. It really is going on. And it's like, oh, my God, please believe. Don't think that, which they think that, oh, people, they're not telling the truth, or, oh, that's scripture. That's not saying that. No, my darling, look, and you see. This is exactly what they say going on. My goodness.
Right. Yeah. Did you check the news out to see what happened? Maybe.
Yeah. What I'm going to do after, and that's the truth. Once I finish everything, I'm going to go. Let's see. We are in Temple. I'm going to go online because I want to see what happened. Because I kid you not, we thought it was a car. Husband said, "Hey, bro, I have the car." So he went on the side. We just came from the grocery store. You understand? And he said, no, nothing is wrong. And then that's what you heard, boom, 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 like 3 times. Then that's what you heard. I kid you not, boom. I was like, is it something like this? But then husband said, well, it couldn't have been as much because it would have been more and more and more. By the time we got going back to home, we didn't see so much so. But to me, it seemed like it's the same thing.
Right.
You understand? There's this type of, as soon as you think everything is fine, something's blowing up.
Yeah, and it's explosions happening all over America. It's just stuff just blowing up, and it's just like, you know, all of a sudden, like, I mean, of course, stuff has been blowing up, you know, but not as often. It's like more and more every day. It's just more and more stuff blowing up, and I guess it's the Most High, you know, showing signs that, hey, look, stuff's about to start blowing up over here. Stuff's about to, you know, start catching on fire, and and be ready for the explosions.
Yeah. That is it. But as always, we so enjoy it. And I had to say again, we must have laughed when that came out. I said, that's right. let us know.
Yeah, we're gonna get some shirts made up, right?
Say again.
We're gonna get some shirts made up. I think the shirt is gonna be I'm straight and I'm proud.
Oh, I tell you what, the moment you guys get that, I'm getting that for my husband. Oh, I love that. I love that. He just came in the house. I'm letting him know.
we got to. We got to fight back. We were even talking about having a heterosexual parade. Hey. Yeah, we talking about doing it big. You know what I'm saying? Heterosexual parade. And then out there, we talked about the men being out there with their shirts on. Hold up. Men with their shirts on, and then having all the daughters of Zion out there from the 12 tribes, having them all out there at the parade, and then bring the children out and show the world that in a sodomite situation, you are not going to produce fruit.
That's
and show them and let them know.
Yes.
So hey, if we can do it big like that, hey, we'll try to make it happen.
That would be beautiful. I mean, just beautiful. My husband, he just walked in, he heard what you were saying. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh my goodness.
Tell him to get ready. Tell him we'll send him his shirt and he can be in the parade too.
My name is Samuel Singleton, and I'm straight. These Sodomites is running around.
Yeah, you gotta let it be known. I guess they're gonna be on. Hey, you gotta let it be known. Hey, it's an attack on heterosexuals. We got no rights.
That's right. Yeah, I'm using all that honey again. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I won't keep you, and I know you have so much to do. But you that is enjoyed my Sabbath. I kid you not. I enjoyed that. But you can, as always, continue. I enjoy it every week when I hear great things, and I understand it. And my husband, we just love it, and we thank you.
All praise to Elijah in Yeshua's name.
We
yes,
know that. You heard
praise.
him. We think all the time that we know the truth and we're GLCC, and we just enjoy it very much. And thank you very much.
All praises to the Father, sis. We thank y'all, bless y'all, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, Shalom.
My brother.
All right, and Sister Kessa, if you could press the number 1 for me to exit the call queue. We're going to bring in, we got here in the studio, we got Brother Kamar with us. We're going to go ahead and bring him in. Brother Kamar, Shabbat Shalom, are you there?
Shabbat Shalom. Let me just start off by saying all praise to the Most High, by Shem Yeshaya, Robert Watt. All praise to the Most High in the name of His Son, Yeshua Christ. And, man, the news is just wonderful, man. I wouldn't even know where to begin to even comment, but one thing I do want to say, I want to make a comment about the Asada Shakur. See, one thing people have to realize about Asada, not only did she break out of jail, her brother broke in to break her out of jail. You understand what I'm saying? So they had, it's more than what they put out there. They tell her she this revolutionary who was a part of the Black Panthers, who wanted to start this movement to make black people be rebellious and etc. But really, like you said, what they were doing was they were trying to better our community. You understand what I'm saying? But in the midst of that, this what people don't know about their movement. Some of those Black Panthers went to college, got degrees, came home. You understand what I'm saying? Asada Shakur's brother, I can't think of his name right now, but he also went to the ghettos and the hoods and got people off drugs and brought them into the movement and got them together and got them to go to school and get degrees. You understand what I'm saying? So
and they'll never talk about that.
And they'll never talk about that. You understand what I'm saying? You will never hear that because all they wanted to focus on is that we were uprising. Well, my point, what my understanding is, what I'm confused on is, why is it such a big thing that if we come together in our own community, what harm is it going to do to you? Are you afraid of something? Are you afraid that it? You see what I'm saying? They're afraid.
Absolutely, they were afraid, because if they weren't afraid, they wouldn't have developed Rex 84, which was concentration camps, and they were going to reenact the ones from World War II that they had put the Japanese in. They were getting those ready if we started to rise during that time period. They were planning to put us in those concentration camps, but they brought in Martin Luther King as a passive person to neutralize us. And then once Martin Luther King woke up, it was too late, and they killed him.
See, they had already planned on killing Martin Luther King from the beginning. See, even though he was a patsy, a pawn to their game, they had already said, look, they already had this in their plans. Look, this nigga, or this Negro, eventually he gonna wake up, go ahead and be prepared to kill him. Because if it wasn't in their plan, they wouldn't have got somebody to replace him so quick.
Right.
Who they put in his stead?
Jesse Jackson. And then what was the name of the coalition he created?
Rainbow Coalition. Come on now. Why would you name your organization after the rainbow, which we know that at that time frame, homosexuality was a little on the rise. They had started using the rainbow as a flag. You see what I'm saying? Now they have. Go ahead.
And I'm saying, and now, who is the one that's fully benefiting from civil rights? The
homosexuals.
Exactly.
So now, to get to that, when they said, why are people so shocked that Obama is backing this guy? When Obama first ran for office, one of the main things he said was, look, we're going to turn America into a country where men and women can have the same rights as men and women. Now, this was during his campaign. Now, if you ain't hear him say that, then there's something wrong with you. You understand what I'm saying? And then on top of that, like you said, we know it was a setup. Look at how this guy came out. First of all, he came in NBA. I remember when him and his twin brother came in. Okay? Now, he ain't even no known guy, but you know him if you watch basketball. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So, why all of a sudden this unknown basketball player who was on the end of his career, really, pretty much, come out and he now announces he's a homosexual. Now he getting all these endorsements.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? He gets all it's perpetuating because it's letting these so-called African American kids know, look, just because you are homosexual and you like sports, don't mean you got to be in the closet. You can get the same benefits that a straight famous basketball player can get.
Or a so-called straight.
Yeah, or so-called straight. You're right, so-called straight, because we all know some of the things they have to do get where they go. But, however, it's madness. It's on the rise. I can tell that it's spiritual warfare. How this guy came out, and then this guy Antoine Dawson come out and say, look, see, the father, he always, you could just see the spiritual warfare, brother. This guy come out and announce he's a homosexual. Then this homosexual come out and announce, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. You see the spiritual warfare in that? You understand what I'm saying? So this homosexual guy probably got, I don't know how many homosexuals following him. Now, who knows how many homosexuals he can touch?
Exactly. In the platform that he has. I mean, it's bad enough to come out and say, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, but at the same time denounce homosexuality. At the same time, that's like two slaps in the face to their one slap that they tried to slap on us.
Exactly. And then it kind of make their agenda a little harder because if you look at it, it'll be like, okay, these homosexuals telling him, hold on. So here you're the Israelite. I need to look into that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like their agenda always really do come back to slap them in the face because even with this movie that's supposed to be coming out, it's been supposed to be released. Why are they pushing it back so much? You know that movie Asher?
Right.
You know it's been pushed back like 5 or 6 times?
I hadn't really been following it, but that's interesting to know that they keep pushing it back.
They pushing the release date back. It was supposed to come out in 2011, late 2011.
Well,
then
you know,
it was supposed to come.
They probably waiting for the right time to bring it out.
But guess what though? I understand they trying to do that, but what if that slapped them in the face too?
Hey, you know that regardless, if at least one person wakes up to that movie, to who they truly are,
the father still got a victory.
Exactly.
So that's all I wanted to say, brother, because the news is wonderful, man. Did you say anything about? Because I was in and out, kind of doing other things and helping you and doing some things too. Did you say anything about I'm a Benajad going to jail?
Well, the reason I didn't go into that is mainly because all of that news was coming out of Western media, and on the Iranian media, they didn't have anything on that that I saw. So I looked at it as Western propaganda because of the fact that right now you do have a change in presidency there. It's an attempt maybe to cause confusion and upheaval and those type of things. That maybe that this is their attempt to try to cause problems for their country. So
Okay. I was just wondering, but one more thing before I go. I know everybody want to get in and chime in, but I gotta ask you: did you hear about the little young girl down in Florida that got arrested with a felony for her high school project that exploded in the class?
What happened?
Well, apparently the girl wanted to see what would happen if she missed certain household chemicals. So when she did it, it was a science project in school, so obviously it was clear by the teacher. So when she did it, it blew up. So when it blew up, the I don't mean to call a correctional officer, but it might as well be. The little officer, the school officer, whatever they call him, came in and arrested the little girl, and they charging the girl with a felony.
What?
And she just 16 years old. Now let's say
science project.
Over science project. Let's say hypothetically we have 15 more years, but we know we ain't got 15 more years. But I'm just saying hypothetically speaking. We know the Bible says that you should forgive if you want the Most High to forgive you, right?
Right.
Now, this society does not forgive because it's hard for a person who have a background to get a job. You know what I'm saying? And I've been noticing some of that type of things in my journey of looking for a job. But, however, I don't want to get into that. But what I'm noticing here is that I read that article and I was like, what if this little girl grow up and want to get a job and she had to put on the application she got a felony for a science project, which is something real. It was just something, I ain't going to say simple, but it was just something she did as a young child and didn't realize that was going to happen. But it's a felony now.
It wasn't her intentions, but what we know that the system, the judicial system, there's two different systems. It's a system for us and it's a system for them. So the whole purpose is to catch us in that felony trap, because when we get in that felony trap, it's so many things that we can't do now that we're a felon.
It's a shame, brother. It's time to go. It's time to leave this plantation, man. And I'm really praying to the Most High that I can get a job or He makes some kind of way for me to get up out of here, brother, because I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to go, but I'm being patient.
Well, just understand this: that at some point there won't be any money, and the Most High don't need money to deliver nobody.
Exactly.
So for a lot of people, it may not happen the way that you think it's going to happen, but just continue to stay following the Most High, and if it's His will, you'll make it out one way or another. You know, it may It may not be, you know, the prettiest way. You know, you may want it to, you know, make it elegant and finesse out of there. But for some people, they may just be getting out of there through the cracks. You know, but the point of it is that you made it out. The Most High is going to show you how, you know, His true power of delivering us, and we have to just stay ready.
True. With that being said, just say Shabbat Shalom in the name of Ahaya Ashur, Ahaya Bashim Yeshaya, where I will walk. Everybody have a blessed Sabbath, and I appreciate you for letting me come in and chime in.
Hey, no problem. Anytime, Mark. And bless you and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next caller we have here. We have Kevin. Shabbat Shalom. You're on the air.
Shabbat Shalom. How you doing, brothers?
Hey, doing pretty good. How's it going?
Good. I just want to make a few comments, a question, see what you guys think. Because, I don't know, for me, it's the homosexuals, they're going to be who they want to be, but what bothers me is the fact that other people who consider themselves called Christians are supporting it, like when you had all the coaches and players coming out supporting it. That's what bothers me. It's like, you know, how you going to, after you shoot a three-pointer, how you going to give praises to the Most High and then support homosexuals? So it's all confusing. But I think what people are trying to do, if you read Psalms 37:12, I don't know if you can go there real quick, but if you read that would kind of give you an example of what they're trying to do to us who are righteous people. You know what I'm saying?
You want to read? You want to read it?
I don't have my Bible on me, brother. Do you have yours?
Yeah, let me see here. Brother Yawanathan, can you get Psalms 37 and 12?
Psalms chapter 37, verse 12. The wicked plotted against the just and gnashed upon him with his teeth.
Yeah, so, you know, that's what they really are doing to us. They're plotting on us and just, they're really knowing us, like he says, with their teeth, man, trying to grind us to make us believe in it or get it, you know what I'm saying, or accept it. But like your brother was saying, we got to fight back to it, you know what I mean? But I'm so disappointed in our other brothers and sisters who are supporting it. That's where the fight is really going to be at, getting the ones that are supporting it, you know, because it looks like it's just a massive of them, you know, that are supporting the deal, man. But I just want to see your comment. Huh?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point that you bring out. And Brother Gaja had brought that up last night on the show. He talked about, you know, where's the so-called Christian church at? Where are these pastors at?
But what did you hear about that brother? He played football or something, but the church, he was supposed to speak at the church, but the church, after he accepted it, the church declined him from coming speaking, you know. And the brother was like, well, you know, I'm not going to change my dignity for the church, you know. So it just shows you the intensity of how I guess the devil is just really on people's mind, man. It's that spirit, you know, they can't break, you know.
The church rejected him because why?
Well, he's a football player, I believe, but he always go there and speak about bullying and all this other stuff. And the church found out he supported that Collins guy, and the church said you can't come here no longer.
Oh, okay,
He didn't put in there what the name of the church was, but the guy was like, I'm not going to change my dignity for the church, and I'm speaking of bullying, and here the church is bullying me. So it's it's amazing.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but that is something.
Did y'all brother see that movie 42?
I haven't seen it yet.
There's a line in there, man, where, you know, Jackie Robinson goes down in the thing, and he really gets emotional because he has been tormented with these words. And he tells Harrison Ford, he says, have you ever, you know, he's upset. He said, have you ever been through something like this? And Harrison Ford said, no, never, but you have. 40 days in the wilderness. Now, he got the timing wrong, but he got But, you know, when I was sitting in the movie and I heard that, I was like, wow, nobody ever will probably get what that man just said right there. He didn't say 40 years, he said 40 days in the wilderness. Now, you take it how you want it from that. I don't know.
Right.
Well,
well, you know, Christ fasted 40 days in the wilderness.
Okay, all right. See, there it is. Yeah,
So.
man. Yeah, brother. But that's all I want to say, man. It's been bothering me, man, that so many people around us, man, is supporting it, man, and it's like it's a battle you can't win, and it's coming to the fact where it's almost looking like we are wrong. You know what I'm saying? If we weren't really in the spirit, we would think that we'd be second guessing ourselves. You know, like
yeah, they have more rights than you now, and pretty soon it'll be a hate crime to speak out against it, and you're being a Christian and having those beliefs. You can't do that like they're doing with these court-martialing with these military personnel and whatnot. So this is the time we're coming into. So.
Right. Well, that's all I want to say, brother. In order for the Most High to destroy all this bad stuff, got to happen. So we got to go through it. You know what I mean? So, Shabbat shalom to you, brother. Man, keep up the good work. And, shalom.
Oh, most definitely. Bless you, Brother Kevin. Shabbat shalom. And talk to you next time. All right. And Brother Kevin, if you could press the number 1 for us to exit the call queue. And also Sister Kessa. Sister Kessa, if you can, if you're still listening, if you could press the number 1, you're in the queue. We would appreciate it. So let's go to the next caller. We have Brother Lexwell with a comment. Shabbat shalom.
Hello, you there?
Oh, getting an echo.
Oh, sorry, I was in a portal. I'm just joking. How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, just chilling right now. What's going on with you?
Well, I was listening to the show, and I heard a couple of things that are kind of interesting, and I think I just want to try to link them up, because you talked about how good men are considered today, virtually worthless, because they're not that thug, basically seed line. They're not going to fall into the American plan of being tough and impressing the woman on the level of black society's fulfillment of a strong man. It's the image that's presented that messes with everybody's minds. And I noticed that you were talking about the whole sports image, and the basketball player came out and said that he was homosexual.
Yes.
I'm not big on sports at all, so I don't know what his name is or anything like that. But
yeah, Jason Collins.
And Mr. Carlin was given a phone call from Obama to congratulate him, to say, "Good job on telling the whole world you're a homosexual," right?
Right.
Well, it's good to keep in mind that this is the same president that the FBI, who's supposed to protect, national secrets, came out to the public and expressed that Obama was a member of Man's Country, which is, a Chicago homosexual club, and I think this is really relevant, because when you look at the whole picture and you start to see the pieces, the 90s was a big fall for the Negro, but we don't see it as that, because we're not looking back at it yet, because we had entertainment that focused on separating a good man from a thug. We had the TLC with no love for what they called a scrub.
Right.
But those characteristics laid out in that song really didn't have anything to do with what we call a thug. So it's funny, because I can't speak for other people, but it seems like the categories that are only available for people to look at in our community is scrub or thug. There's no other the category for men to fall in, and it just seems like that's the focus of of our community. I can't say that's the focus of women because I'm not a woman, and you know, nor do I conversate with that many women on this subject or anything like that. I can just say of our community, you know, because it really leads back to the whole, who are we? You know, because it deals with Stockholm Syndrome. How much do we love the people that oppressed us? Because this homosexuality, it's a program being played upon our minds. This is why the society expresses, or the societal magazines express how important marketing is, because this makes you desire stuff you don't want to. And believe it or not, that crosses every bound, whether it be food, drink, clothing, or sexuality. And this is why we are constantly flashed with homosexuality, to put us in what most people would call a trance. Because if you have a moral set, and your moral set is against male on male or female on female, when it's seen in front of you constantly, it degenerates you. It takes the value out of you. You're not making that effort to turn away from it. It's like seeing murder so many times on TV, and then you see a real murder in real life.
You're desensitized.
Desensitization, and that's the whole point of these constant images, 30 seconds per commercial. Every half an hour TV show has 22 minutes, and inside the remaining block of 8 minutes, you are forced to deal with advertisement that you otherwise would not know about. And this is where all the different particular things about a human is displayed, especially sexuality. And I bring this up because it is focused on the Israelite, and this is what the Illuminati actually deals with. You have Caucasians calling themselves nigga. You have blacks that want to look Caucasian. It's a role reversal. And the interesting thing is the thug in society is actually, now I was watching this guy on YouTube, and he actually pointed out, the thug in society is actually looking more and more barbaric and Cro-Magnon.
Right.
And it's a shame, because that's our brother, that's our cousin, that's at some point our bloodline, you know. So
Let me. Those are definitely some great points that you're bringing out. Let me bring this up and see what you have to say about this. Have you noticed how, with the American culture, and what they say a black male is supposed to be like in order to be accepted or cool or whatnot? Have you noticed how in America, if you get caught selling drugs or anything along those lines, you go to jail, right?
Right.
Or even if you possess drugs. But have you noticed how you have rappers like Rick Ross who glorify being a drug dealer and doing drugs, and yet they get they get endorsements. So it's like, if you talk about it and you're an idol to the youth to continue the perpetual cycle to cause them to do drugs and to go to jail and destroy themselves in their community, then you get endorsements. But if you get caught with it, you get the exact opposite. You're going to jail. You're a felon, or whatever the charges are, and now your life is pretty much almost ruined, because now you can't get a job. You're in jail. Whatever the case may be. It's just funny how America has just set it. Just everything is just totally backwards, and it's just accepted. Like, it's cool to be a drug dealer.
Well, it's all bait. Okay? It's illegal for a cop to attempt to sell you drugs. But if what you call the CIA brings drugs into the country, then they must make sure the drugs are sold to make sure that they make those profits. They have those soldiers over there in front of poppy fields for a reason. You can type that in, you can Google images, and you can see soldiers guarding drugs. That's because the American soil is poor. It's because they burned all the bodies. They didn't bury any of the bodies. And the important thing to understand about this is they need that progression. Those rappers are bait. They are to bait the image, bait the lifestyle, because they want to bait the children of Israel. It's not about these Caucasian kids. You don't see Asian kids. I mean, I'm sure they do, but they're really sly about it. You don't see Asian kids on the news getting busted for dealing this or dealing this. You don't see I really don't see that many white kids getting busted trafficking drugs from one state to the other. I see Negro people, brown people calling them black, getting arrested from trying to take drugs from state to state because they are out of that government loop.
Hispanics also, you have the Mexican drug wars going on down there in Mexico, and Brother Yawanathan just made a good point to go with the fact of how these so-called rappers get endorsements for rapping about drugs and selling drugs and being these big kingpin drug dealers, but yet when they get caught with drugs, they do no time. Like Snoop and Lil Wayne, when they get caught with drugs, they do no time because of what they represent. But yet if you or me get caught with that stuff, we finna get the book slapped at us and thrown at us.
Well, I completely agree with that. It's all part of what is called the game, but it's really no game, And the important thing is what to consider is its popularity, right? When these guys want some what we call street cred because we're poor and we're on the street, they go out and they do something stupid or they set up something stupid. Listen, how can 3 artists get caught in the same city, but each of the artists are respectively sing to different kinds of forms of pop, whether it be rap, whether it be the no offense to anybody, but pop is aimed at what the white person or the Caucasus people call their form of trash or their form of Negro. Britney Spears isn't singing to rich kids. She's singing to poor, broke people that are just as broke as the Israelites that are in the same communities. These are the same kids that our society uses the term wigger to.
Yeah, it's more geared toward the middle and lower class.
Yes, and these are the stems of the Illuminati, because the poor don't have the money to go to these colleges to be quote unquote illuminated. Like I'm doing this video about this guy that wants to graft wings onto people, and these kids that go to college, they're taught these things like, oh, inside of each of one of your chromosomes is a stem, and on each one of your stems is the DNA material for a fish on one and this animal on the other, and that's just a complete lie. But they just mesmerize them. Each archetype or each type of person has their own form of, I know this much, but I don't know this, and what I don't know about, I can be mesmerized about. And it's all about tricking that person for the mindset that they're in. You don't like to spend money? They're going to find a way. You don't like to do drugs? They're going to find a way. This is the whole point about getting out of Babylon, leaving this place, because its whole point is to get control of you. You are to be an avatar, and this is the video game.
Hey, I agree. That's right on point. Most definitely.
It's all about indoctrination for each type of human being. And no matter how many billions of people are on here, there ain't that many types of personalities. And you got to understand that if there ain't that many types of personality, they ain't got to do too much to attack the quote-unquote Negro community. especially the Negro community, the part of it that calls itself black. They've separated.
Right.
They've used the Willie Lynch to separate us, and you can see it. You've got to step outside of the box and look at what's actually going on. You have to analyze it critically. What in the HELL are they trying to do to me, and why? We've covered the food. We've covered the water. We've covered the sky. And we know at each point they're taking biblical, spiritual strikes. I'm going to put pork in your food. I'm going to put fluoride to dumb you down in your water so you can't stay wise. And I'm going to kill your produce through the air. We've covered the vaccines. And through the help of a strong community like the GOCC, we're covering the spirituality. And that's why I appreciate you guys. And I hope, I pray, more people are listening and more people have a point of view, whether it's different or on the same. Promote these people. Make stickers, make flyers, make banners. Talk out loud, talk into the wind. Hey, that guy's talking to himself. So what? Just open your mouth, people. That's all I have to say. I love you, man. Shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Hey, right on. That's definitely great words, and thanks for bringing all that out, Lex. Shabbat shalom. And if you could press 1 to exit the queue, Lex. And Brother Kamar had brought up the fact of what happened in Florida with that with the young sister, and then I got some information from Anai Abad. He told me that they're charging her as being a possible terrorist act. So she's being called a terrorist because of that explosion that happened, like it was something that she meant to do. So definitely we'll need to look into that story and see what's going on. And it's something about Florida, with everything that happens in Florida, with Trayvon Martin and the other young brother that got killed in his truck, his SUV. Now you got this young sister, and reminds me of the Rosewood. If anybody hasn't seen that movie, check it out. Rosewood. It's based on a true story of what happened in Florida back in the 1920s. So Florida is definitely one of them high-profile racist states for our people. But what we're going to do is we're going to bring in Brother X here in a moment. He's going to make a comment, and then we're going to get ready for segment 2. So, Brother X, Shabbat Shalom, are you there?
Shabbat Shalom. How you doing, Elder Omar?
Hey, I'm good. How's it going?
All is well, all is well. I just had to make a public service announcement to the people. I was trying to gather those that are in Seattle, Washington. So if you're in Seattle, Washington, this is my telephone number, 510. Also, if you're in Las Vegas or Northern Cali, 510. What is my number? 510-545. Wait a second. Okay. 510-545-4987. So if you're in the Northern Cali part of the country or Nevada, I'm in Las Vegas. So if you also in Seattle, Washington, just give me a call at 510-545-4987. And we're trying to gather those brothers and sisters together. There's already brothers and sisters in Northern California. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. As for the topic on homosexuals and especially for this sister that's going down over there, down there in Florida, a lot of these attacks and a lot of these motions and acts or actions are directed towards the children of Israel. I mean, somehow, some way, it's a direct correlation to the children of Israel, and you could find it through the aftermath of all the different actions that have been done. You know, so I mean, even from the bombing or down there in Texas, they had the fertilizer plant with the missile just hitting the fertilizer plant. I mean, this stuff is like, it's all directed towards the children of Israel. Somehow, some way, cracking down movement within the United States of America. And, you know, the children of Israel already don't move. So now you're placing them as terrorists when they don't move. But all the other nations are moved and allowed to travel the world and travel the nations, even travel the nations. And here we are, we got felonies, child support, IRS problems, all these different problems that's coming after us, giving us an inability to move. And here it is, they just trying to crack down even more and more. So, you know, just like how the scripture said in 2nd Esdras, I think it was 14 or I think it was probably 16, where it's letting us know, son, we won't be able to move from city to city or town to town. We just gonna be stuck where we at. You know, due to some natural disaster or some terrorist act. Either which way, that's what it's all gonna lead to, and it's just gonna lead to a bunch of slaughtering of the children of Israel. Because I mean, now we in a time and a day where one side, Satan grabs somebody, and now the Most High grabbing somebody. Because just like how we was explaining, one dude saying he coming out of homosexuality, or one dude saying he coming out and he a homosexual, then you got another dude saying, well, I'm not going to be homosexual anymore. So the Most High is just, again, drawing that line, saying, look, I'm grabbing my people, You on my side or you on their side? Other than that, it's on. So just wanted to put that out there. And,
hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. And for those that don't know, Brother X is the one that hosts the Sunday night show, Hebrew Way is Life. What do you have on the agenda for Sunday night show?
Well, actually, we have this brother out of Las Vegas who's actually starting a Hebrew college, and it's already accredited and everything. So I'm getting into it with him, Elder Gabar. It will be on with me, and you know, that's going to be a big advance for the children of Israel.
Yeah, that definitely sounds very interesting, to say the least. And hopefully we can take, you know, that particular concept of what he's doing, which we kind of already have with the academy. It's kind of set up that way, but maybe take some of that of what they're doing and be able to continue to expand with it and you know, all over the world and set up shop. You know, so you know, definitely for those. Listening, check out that show. It's at it's 10 Eastern, right?
Yeah, 10 Eastern. Mm-hmm.
10 Eastern. Okay, yeah. So 10
Eastern,
9 Central.
Yeah.
7 Pacific, 9 Central.
Pretty good brother. Coming into the truth, or been in it for a while, fighting against the pastors and all these other different people. You know how it is. You come into the truth and trying to spread the gospel, but we got. He's going to be presenting some his story and also what he has planned, which will be real good for you know, it's something like you said, it's something like the academy, but you know, it's just hopefully we'll be able to place the academy teachings into the college. You know, have our own class.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that would be fly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So again, just for the brothers and sisters that's in Northern Cali, Seattle, Washington, or whatever state you might be in on the West Coast, my phone number is 510-545-4987, and I'm trying to reach out to the brothers in Seattle. I actually lost one brother number, and that's who I'm really trying to reach, because he's going to end up taking care of Seattle. All right, shalom.
All right, Shabbat shalom, and bless you, Brother X.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and take a quick break and get ready for segment 2. Segment 2 will be part 3 of identifying and exposing the synagogue of Satan, the legacy of Esau/Edom. So you definitely want to stay tuned. We're going to go through a lot of information, a lot of crucial and key points in this next part that we're going to talk about on that. We have about 20 minutes before overtime. So, just be mindful of the time. You have to call in if you're listening to the computer, and we'll be right back.
Do you have a talent, a company, or a service to render? Would you like an avenue to get the word out? Well, GOCC Blog Talk Radio would like to connect with you to help fulfill your vision. Don't have a clear direction on where to go? It's okay. GOCC Blog Talk Radio can assist you with making your very own commercial. Call us now at 1-888-334-3330 and be on your way to the expansion of your business. That's 1-888-334-3330. GOCC Blog Talk Radio Station, starting the foundations for the building blocks of life. GOCC members ask for special rates.
Okay, so last week we talked about part 2 of the descendants of Esau, the lineage of Esau. We went into the book of Jasher and the Josephus, and we saw Esau through his grandson Zepho go into Kittim and also into Italia, which is Greece and Italy. He was put up as king over those people, which are the original Japhetic people during the time of Zepho. So it was the first instance where we see how Esau got into that land that we know today is Europe. From there, we went in and saw through the Josephus that Herod the Great was an Idumean. Josephus identified his father, Antipater, as a Idumean, which would make Herod the Great an Idumean also. So picking up there, we left off from last week. And we again, we're going in and showing the continued struggle between Jacob and Esau, and we're showing how this this opposite spectrum of struggle has started in the womb and has gone throughout history, a continuous struggle. And I want to get a couple of scriptures here before we continue to show why we must identify who the synagogue of Satan is and also who Esau is. All right, so let's go to, we're going to go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And let me see here. Brother Yowanathan, if you could read verse 3.
Excuse me. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
All right, so the scripture lets us know, let no man deceive you. It's the same thing Yeshua Christ told us in Matthew 24. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So this man of sin must be revealed. Read on.
Verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High.
Okay, so what people in the world today is exalting themselves above the Most High, and as they are the Most High.
Let's go to the book of Obadiah. Obadiah, and let's get start at verse 3.
Obadiah 1 and 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Most High Power.
So, we know that Obadiah is speaking about it's concerning Esau. Verse 1 tells us that this is the vision that Obadiah saw concerning Esau. So Esau exalts himself as the eagle and set his nest amongst the stars. Now, when we link this into Isaiah chapter 14, Lucifer said that he will be like the Most High and set his throne above the stars of the Most High. So Lucifer has linked in with the top mount of Esau, primarily Amalek. All right, so this is linking into this son of perdition, this man of sin that must be revealed. Now, go to verse 6.
Obadiah, verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?
All right, so how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Let's get some understanding on that. We're going to come back to 2 Thessalonians. Let's go to one moment here. Let's go to Colossians chapter 1, verse 26.
Colossians chapter 1, verse 26. Even the mystery, which hath been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints.
So even the mystery, which hath been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints. So that is how the hidden things of Esau have been sought up, because this mystery, what mystery? We're going to go into that next, that had been hid from the ages and from generations now is being made manifest to the saints of the Most High. So now let's go to back to 2 Thessalonians. And let's start at verse 6.
The 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 6. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way.
All right, so this is one of the mysteries that have been revealed to the saints of the Most High. This mystery of iniquity that doeth already work, that was already in work during Paul's time. What was already at work? The Roman Empire, the Roman government. All right. So, again, we were able to see Zepho go into Rome, into Italy, in the book of Jasher. And the Romans, we saw Herod and Idumean. We saw Romulus, the first king of Rome, and Idumean. All right. And these people now are posing as the children of Israel, the Jewish people. This is the mystery of iniquity that everybody's trying to figure out, where is all of this wickedness coming from? All of this madness and chaos going on in the world, these false flags and these explosions going off and these wars. And when you do the research, you're going to see who's behind all of this madness going on. And it is the Jewish people. Those at the top. I'm not talking about the deceived Jewish people that don't know who, that they're not the people. I'm talking about those at the top, like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts. Those are the original 13 Illuminati bloodlines. Now, so we have to identify this mystery. So now let's go back into some history here, part 3, and the legacy of Esau / Edom. Now, there's a book that we're going to go into called Who is Esau / Edom? And this book is by Charles A. Weissman. So we're going to be reading from this book some excerpts. All right, so let me start here. This is in chapter 1. It says here, Esau and the Edomites dwelt in Mount Seir, Genesis 36, 8-9, which God gave to Esau for a possession, Deuteronomy 2-5, Joshua 24-4. This land was also known as Idumea, Isaiah 34-6. The land of Edom, Mount Seir, lied south of the Dead Sea, stretching south to its seaport at Elath. That's in Deuteronomy 1-2, 2-1, and verse 8. And included the ravine known as Petra. After the conquest of Judah by the Babylonians, some of the Edomites who had mixed with the Jews in their land resettled with them in Judea. And you can read that in Jeremiah 40:11 and 12. 2 centuries later, all of Edom was driven out of Mount Seir. All right, so all of Edom 2 centuries after this was driven out of Mount Seir. They weren't there. The Edomites were driven from Petra westward by the Nabateans in 312 BC. And before the middle of the 2nd century BC, they were occupying not only southern Judah, but also Hebron and the country to its north as far as Beth Sur. And you can read about that in 1 Maccabees chapter 4-29 and chapter 5 and verse 65. The Nabateans now occupied Mount Seir, and the Edomites were driven into the old territory of Judah. The Maccabean family, a remnant of the true Judahites, had ruled Judea from 166 to 37 BC. And under Judas Maccabee, 1 Maccabees 5-3, recaptured the city of Hebron from the Edomites in 164 BC. So when you go into 1 Maccabees, you see in the very beginning, the first chapter, Alexander the Greek start the first empire under the Edomites, or Idumea. Alexander the Greek was an Idumean, and this information is going to go into that and prove. And in Maccabees 5-3, we see that Judas Maccabee takes the city of Hebron back from the Edomites in 164 BC. And again, this history is crucial to understanding and identifying Esau and this mystery of iniquity, because it's a mystery, and Esau tends to hide himself to not be easily identified. During the time of John Hyrcanus, 135 to 105 BC, the nephew of Judas, the Judahites were again faced with the hostility of the Idumeans. Hyrcanus confronted the Edomites, causing a decisive change in the relations between the two factions. John Hyrcanus conquered the whole of Edom and undertook the forced conversion of its inhabitants to Judaism. And you can read that in Josephus, the book of Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 13, book 9, paragraph 1. Thenceforth, the Edomites became a section of the Jewish people. So Esau, at that point, was now integrated in with the Jews, or the tribe of Judah. And this is key to understanding that these Edomites made up a faction of the Pharisees. When you hear Christ speak in St. John, where he says that ye are of your father the devil, he was speaking to these particular Edomites that were this mystery of iniquity that was working during this time. And you read it in Daniel chapter 7 when Daniel calls them the people of the prince. The people of the prince of this world, Satan. Thus, at this juncture of time, the Edomites were then incorporated with the Jewish nation, and their country was called by the Greeks and Romans Idumea. But the tide turned in favor of the Edomite faction when Julius Caesar made Antipater, an Edomite, procurator of Judea in 47 BC. When Antipater was killed 4 years later, his son Herod gained the support of Rome. With a Roman army at his heels, he returned to Palestine, and after a 6-month siege, he captured Jerusalem and became king of Judea in 37 BC. So again, we see Esau, who was skilled in weaponry and a cunning hunter, ruling and having rulership and dominion over his brother Jacob under the Herodian dynasty. Herod was a shrewd and unscrupulous tyrant and was despised by the Judahites because he was an Idumean and not of their own stock. Herod hated the people of Judah, and one of his first acts was to execute forth 5 of the leaders of the old aristocracy to eliminate any rivalry for leadership. All right, so any of the Jews that were in power and position at that time in the government of Israel, he executed them. So there wouldn't be any conflicts going forward. Having secured the kingship, Herod next destroyed the priestly line of Hyrcanus, the last being Antigonus, who taunted Herod with his Idumean origin and asserted that the kingdom should fall on one of the royal family. So Antigonus taunted Herod because he was an Idumean and said that this kingdom or this land belongs to one that's of Jew stock, a true Jew. Finally, he murdered Aristobulus, the last of the Aaronic high priest. Herod then sought to affiliate himself with the high priesthood through marrying Mariamne, Aristobulus' sister and the daughter of a high priest. So again, they try to convert into being a Jew through marriage or through religion. Herod even rebuilt the temple as it was in ruins from repeated sieges, part of which Herod was responsible for by his attack upon the city. The temple of God became, in a sense, Herod's temple. We thus find that in the years just before the time of Christ, Judea was controlled by an Edomite faction who usurped the Judahite name, land, and heritage. Under Hyrcanus, the Edomites were forced to be part of the Judean culture. But under Herod, the Herodian faction had control over the Judeans' culture and way of life. Confounding the matter is the fact that some Judahites had intermixed with Edomite, Canaanite, and other alien stock at the time they returned from the Babylonian captivity. And you can read about that in the book of Ezra, chapter 9, verses 1 and 2, and Nehemiah, chapter 13, verses 3, verses 23 through 25. The land was not the kingdom of Judah, but the nation of the Jews. Historically, the Edomites became known as Jews, a term derived from Judea. So through this Babylonian captivity and this intermingling and mixing, now you're starting to have those who are of Edomite or Idumean stock called themselves Jews. So it started way before what we think in common time of the Jewish people calling themselves Jews, which was derived from the name Judah, being the royal line of Israel, though they were never of Judah or Israel. During Titus's siege of Jerusalem, 66 to 70 AD, 20,000 Idumeans appeared before Jerusalem to fight in behalf of the Zealots who were besieged in the temple. About 97,000 inhabitants of Judea were taken captive, and an unknown number had fled either before or during the siege. And this is what in Matthew 24 Christ told the disciples: when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, know that the desolation thereof is nigh, and to flee into the mountains. So our people were fleeing from this Roman persecution, and this is 70 AD. Some of them were taken back to Rome as slaves. A lot were killed in Judea, and you can read about that in the Josephus. This is the last mention of the Edomites as a people in history. So at this point in history, the Edomites disappeared miraculously. Yet, Bible prophecy indicates that Edom would be an enemy of Israel in latter times. We find that their only connection to a present-day people in religion is with the Jews and Judaism. We thus need to trace back the origin of the Jews to see who they are and how they fit into the puzzle of who is Esau/Edom. All right, so now let's go into the origin of the Jews, or the Jewish people. The Jews of today fall with two main types: the Sephardic Jew and the Ashkenazi Jew. The Sephardim are also known as Spanish Jews and constitute about 5% of the Jews in the world. The Ashkenazium are the East European Jews, which are found in Poland, Russia, Germany, and Western Asia. This group of Jews make up 90% of the so-called Jews in the world. All right. Many reference and historical sources have unequivocally identified that the bulk of the Ashkenazi Jews were derived from a people known as Khazars or Khazars in some texts, or Caesars, as the Caesars of Rome. Khazar means Caesar. The original Jewish Encyclopedia of 1905 revealed that the main stock of the Jews came from the Asiatic people known as Khazars or Khazars. So let's talk about this Jewish encyclopedia here. Khazars, a people of Turkish origin whose life and history are interwoven with the very beginning of the history of the Jews of Russia. Historical evidence points to the region of the Urals as the home of the Khazars. The Khazars were a nomadic people who had no traces of Hebraic culture. They had been following a pagan and sex-oriented religion until they had officially embraced Judaism in 740 AD, while rejecting Christianity and Mohammedanism. The Jewish author and historian Arthur Koestler also concludes that the majority of the East European Jews, and hence of world Jewry, is of Khazar and not of Semitic origin. In the beginning of his book, he states, "The large majority of surviving Jews in the world is of Eastern European, and thus perhaps mainly of Khazar origin. If so, this would mean that their ancestors came not from the Jordan, but from the Volga, not from Canaan, but from the Caucasus, and that genetically they are more closely related to the Hun, Oghur, and Magyar tribes than the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." All right. As the Khazars left their homeland of Khazaria and migrated north and west, they lost their name and became known as Jews. Their Yiddish language and alphabet is not that of the Israelites, Phoenician Greek style, but an amalgamation of Aramaic, medieval German, Slavic, and Russian dialects. So the Jewish people, they're what they call modern Hebrew, is not the language of the Israelites. It's Yiddish. All right, the language of the ancient Israelites was Phoenician Greek style. Of course, they used the same script or the same writing letters, but it's not the same sound or language or dialect. And again, it's an amalgamation of Aramaic, medieval German, Slavic, and Russian dialects. So it's pretty much like Latin mixed in with Hebrew. And we know that Latin is Satan's tongue. The best historical evidence, therefore, shows that the Jews are not descended directly from the Israelites of the Bible, but derive much of their ancestry from the Khazars and other people of Turkish Asiatic blood. The Khazars are also of Edomite stock, and both stocks make up the present-day Jews, as the historian H.B. Wells states. The Idumeans, Edomites, were made Jews, and a Turkish people, Khazars, were mainly Jews in South Russia. The main part of Jewry never was in Judea and had never come out of Judea. According to the Jewish Encyclopedia, the original stock of the Khazars come from the land of Edom. Let me read that again. According to the Jewish Encyclopedia, the original stock of the Khazars come from the land of Edom. That's in their own encyclopedia. They let you know who they are. But of course, they would never come out and tell you who they are. You would have to go back to 1925 into the records of their encyclopedia and come across this information. Hasdai Ibn Shaprut, who was the foreign minister to Abd al-Rahman, Sultan or Cordova, in his letter to King Joseph of the Khazars about 960 AD, speaks of the tradition according to which the Khazars once dwelt near the Seir mountain. The Seir mountains are none other than the original land of Esau/Edom. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, Genesis 36:8. Seir was a mountain range south of the Dead Sea and was also known as the land of Edom, Genesis 36:21. The Seir Mountains were the home of the Edomites for nearly a millennium. Thus, it should be no surprise that migrants from that land would recall the name of their original homeland. If the Khazars did originally dwell near the Seir Mountains, then the Khazars, and thus world Jewry, are racially of Edomite stock. But how and when did Edomites get to Khazaria? There is evidence that in the 6th century BC, some of the Edomites fled their homeland of Seir and migrated north. Ezekiel 36:5. After the fall of Jerusalem in 586 BC, the Edomites began to press northward. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 5. And let's read this. And again, in order to understand who Esau is, you must understand history, biblical history, and you must understand prophecy. The same way we identify Jacob through history, biblical history, and through prophecy. The prophecy does not lie. Ezekiel 36:5 Read that, Brother Yawanathan.
Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 5. Therefore thus saith the Most High Power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey.
So let's get that again. And against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. So this was future prophecy showing us that Idumea, or the Edomites, would appoint the Most High's land, the land that we know of, the land of Canaan, which is the state of Israel today, into their possession with the joy of all their heart. My, how they were dancing after World War II, and the UN granted them that land. They had it all on the big screen for people to see. This is what has went on. All right, now let's continue to get more. When Persia overthrew Babylon, King Cyrus issued a decree in 538 BC, allowing the Judehites to return to their land and rebuild the temple. That's in the book of Ezra, chapter 1, verse 1 through 5. However, only about 50,000 returned to Palestine, and that's in the book of Ezra, chapter 2, verses 64 and 65. So I want to stop right here because this is a key point. After ancient Babylon, all of our people did not go back to Israel. It says only 50,000 returned. What does this mean? This means that when you read Jeremiah chapter 50 and Jeremiah chapter 51, and it talks about Babylon being no longer inhabited and being destroyed and made desolate and being judged like Sodom and Gomorrah, and no man or beast shall inhabit there, this was not talking about ancient Babylon. Because, again, some of our people stayed after ancient Babylon fell. And we're going to continue to show more information on that as well. For those that think that Jeremiah 50 and 51 is talking about ancient Babylon, you must know biblical history to know that that's future prophecy, not talking about that Babylon. It's talking about the mystery Babylon of Revelations. However, some of them had apparently departed to their kinsmen in Europe. However, many of the Judehites and Benjamites preferred to remain in Babylonia, becoming a part of the indigenous population. So some of our people decided to stay in Babylon after it fell. All right, so it's impossible for those chapters in Jeremiah to be talking about, ancient Babylon. That's future prophecy. Those remaining had intermarried with the Babylonians and Edomites that were in the land and adopted their religion and law, the Babylonian Talmud, which became the foundation for Judaism. These then became the Babylonian Jews. Esther chapter 8 and 17 says, "Then many of the people of the land became Jews." So you want to know how the Babylonian Talmud became a centerpiece for Judaism and the Jewish people of today? It started in ancient Babylon when they mixed in with our people and with the rest of the people in ancient Babylon, and they took that religion back to the land with them. And they've been holding on to it all of this time. And it is the foundation of Judaism today. All right. So Let's go to the next part. So that history right there is crucial history that you need to know from Babylon up until the time of the Maccabees. All right. Now, chapter 3 of this book by Charles A. Weissman, the characteristics of Esau/Edom. Edom's symbolic name. The first revealing attribute associated with Esau/Edom in Scripture is that of a color association with his name. Esau/Edom is typically associated with the color red. Esau was actually born with this attribute, as is described in the account of his birth. Let's read Genesis 25 and 25.
All right, one second. Genesis chapter 25, verse 25. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
So here we find that Esau had the physical attribute of being red and hairy, which is contrasted with Jacob's appearance, who was a plain man, Genesis 25 and 27. The red color of Esau was to be a sign that he would later sell his birthright to Jacob for some red pottage. Let's read verse 30.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
So the word Edom actually means red, just as the name Esau signifies red. This character thus represents the color red. When we look at the meaning and symbology associated with the color red in both scripture and secular history, we have a better understanding of the nature and identity of Esau/Edom and who he is to be identified with. All right, let's go to the next section. This will be the last section, and then we'll go to the phone lines for anybody that has any comments or questions. Just press 1, and we'll end the show with going to the call lines. All right, so the next section says Esau hated by God. Perhaps the most unique and unusual attribute possessed by Esau/Edom is his adverse relationship with God. The script reveals that God never had any love for Esau as he did with Jacob. And in fact, God hates Esau. Let's go to Malachi chapter 1, and let's get verses 2 through 3.
All right, one second. Malachi chapter.
And just real quick, and this is something that they will never teach you in church, in Christian church, because their God is an all-loving God. He could never hate. So you'll never get this information, not even close, in Christian church. Okay, read on.
Malachi chapter 1, verse 2, right?
Yeah, 2 and 3.
Okay. Malachi chapter 1, verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Most High, yet ye say, Wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Most High, yet I loved Jacob. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
So that's God's hatred and anger towards Esau and Esau/Edom. Is not a one-time event conveyed in the fact that Edom was the people against whom the Lord has indignation forever. Read verse 4.
Verse 4. Whereas Edom said, We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Most High of Hosts, They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Most High had indignation forever.
Okay, so Esau wants to rebuild the desolate places. So when you see the Twin Towers get knocked down in America, they want to rebuild that into a new tower. The Most High said he's going to throw down. Esau says that he will set his nest amongst the stars, but the Most High said, I will bring thee down. So Esau continues to want to build and go up high and go up into space. The Most High is going to bring him down. And then, again, I'm talking about Esau, we're talking about the mount or those at the top, Amalek of Esau. This is no mistranslation, as the same concept is also conveyed in the New Testament. So you can even show Christians, hey, look, it's even in the New Testament. Let's go to Romans 9 and 13.
All right. Romans. Excuse me. Romans chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
So you know how they love to run to Paul in these Christian churches, but I guarantee you that they will never talk about Romans 9 and 13, though. They may even skip this whole chapter in the Christian church of Paul. So you see how the Christian church likes to pick and choose what they want to teach. But if it's in the Bible, then we must teach it. We must explain what it means. So, of course, it may be a touchy subject for some. And it may be that the Christian church, because they're all a loving God, they can't explain what this means. So they just rather just skip over it. Well, we're going to talk about what it means. This hatred by God towards Esau is an attribute that the human heart cannot accept or embrace, and therefore many will try to explain it away. Thus, scores of theologians have avoided this truth of Scripture or have whitewashed it into something more appealing to human nature. God not only hates Esau/Edom and is against these people, but he refers to them as the people of my curse. And that's in Isaiah 34 and 5. This curse is not just on Esau, but also his seed and his brethren. Let's go to Jeremiah 49 and 10.
All right. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not.
So the Most High has made Esau bare and has uncovered his secret places. Obadiah told us, how are the hidden things of Esau sought up? How are his secret things sought up? Because he's revealing the mysteries to the saints in these last days. So Esau can no longer hide himself the way he's been able to hide since 70 AD and disappear off the face of the earth. Through prophecy and through history, we now can identify this man of sin and this son of perdition, those that are exalting themselves above the Most High, claiming to be the Most High, standing in the temple of the Most High. When the Romans and the Greeks ran into the temple and they overtook the temple from the time of Maccabees all the way to the time of Titus, they would go in, they would sacrifice swine on the altar, polluting the Most High's temple. All right? So now you can see why the Most High said that he hated these particular Edomites. Now, among Esau's brethren were the Amalekites, which were descended from one of Esau's grandsons. Genesis chapter 36, verses 4 and 12. It was these Edomite kinsmen whom God had sworn war against from generation to generation. So this is the part of Edom that we are focused on, Amalek, which make up these Jewish people at the top, the original bloodlines. Let's go to Exodus 17 and read verse 16.
Exodus chapter 17, verse 16. For he said, because the Most High has sworn that the Most High will have war with Amalek from generation to generation.
All right. So when you read the book, when you read in the Old Testament and you're reading about David and all the warring and fighting that's going on, that warring and fighting is going on against Amalek, whom the Most High told him to completely wipe him off the face of the earth. And David did not succeed in doing so. So Amalek is able to run rampant in today's times. And now you understand why the perpetual persecution and tribulation for Jacob. You understand now why we are in Jacob's trouble. Because Amalek was not exterminated like the Most High told and commanded in the law to exterminate. So God's hatred of Edom is not a temporary thing, but is perpetual. The doctrine that God loves everyone does not stand up in light of what the Bible has to say regarding God's merciless position towards the race of people called Edom. Although the churches have tried to alter God's true nature, we find that throughout the Bible, God's position towards Esau/Edom does not change. Let's go to Ezekiel 36 and read verse 5.
All right. Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 5. Therefore thus saith the Most High Power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land.
Okay, so again, we read that earlier, but I just wanted to go back into that the Most High showing these scriptures where he does not change on his stance against Idumea or Edom. Let's go back to Obadiah and let's read verse 8.
Obadiah, verse 8. Shall I not in that day, said the Most High, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau?
All right, so this destruction that's coming against Esau is out of the mount of Esau, the top portion, Amalek, not all of Esau. And we're going to get scriptures to confirm that momentarily. Let's go to Ezekiel 35 and get verse 3.
Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 3. And say unto it, thus saith the Most High Power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate.
All right, so you see that? So there is not one favorable or positive statement in the Bible in relation to Esau/Edom. Now that's what the author states, but we're going to get a scripture, some scriptures that are favorable that he missed. But how does this adverse relationship which God has towards Esau/Edom help us to identify who this character is in the world today? To help us answer this, we have to put ourselves into the role which Esau has been assigned in God's script. If God hated you and your ancestors, how would you react and what would you do? By natural reaction, you would be against God and his people and try to prevent them from finding out you are Esau, that God is against, knowing that if God is against something, so will his followers. Who is it that tries to conceal their identity as Edom? The one hated by God by claiming to be Israel, the one loved by God. Only one group of people reacts as though God has hatred for them, and that is the Jews or the Jewish people of today. Why do you suppose the Jews form organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League to monitor and combat hate and to identify hate groups? Would not Esau want to do this? Why is it that it is predominantly Jews who promote the anti-hate laws and other hate crimes legislation? If you were Esau/Edom, would you not do the same? An Edomite would also want to infiltrate churches
to believe that there is no God of hate, only a God of love and mercy. The Jews have done just that in Christendom. So that's the reason why you have Christians that love the Jewish people, even though the Jewish people don't love them and they don't love Christ. So they have given the Christian their doctrine, the doctrine of an all-loving God, and to love the people of Israel that are constantly committing all the atrocities of the world. Even though they're not the people, you think they're the people, and you can excuse their all the evil and wickedness they're doing because they're God's people, right? And at the same time, when you tell them who the real people of the Bible are, they'll tell you it doesn't matter. This is the confusion that our people in Christian churches are dealing with. The Edomite Jews of today are the main ones who are concerned about hate, and with good reason. They are desperately trying to suppress all hate, even any acts or words that could be construed as causing mental anguish. In response to the role as being the people against whom the Lord has indignation forever, the Jews have made the concept of hate a taboo. The Jew Eli Wiesel stated on public television that even hate of hate is dangerous. This is an example of how paranoid the Edomite Jews are regarding God's hatred of them, and the lengths they will go to eliminate from the minds of God's people any aspect of the idea of hate. Yes, God hates and has an indignation for the Edomite Jews, and if any dare take God's side on this matter, they will be met with great opposition and persecution from those who believe the Edomite Jews are God's chosen people. Now, this ends this part of part 3, but I want to go into some scriptures because we're talking about how the Most High said he hated Esau, and it doesn't look too good for those that are of Esau based on this information, especially if you're Amalek. But let's get some scriptures to show that that's not the case. Okay, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 23, and let's get verse 7.
Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land.
So you see this in the law right here. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. So many people might say, well, what's abhor? So let's get that in the Strongs. That's Hebrew Strongs 8581. It means tawab. Tawab. And it says to loathe. That is detest. Abominable. Utterly. So in our law, we could not have this thought of detesting, loathing, or an abomination in our mind towards those that we may feel are Esau or Edom. We can't do it. It's not in our nature to have that level of hate. And you have these groups that teach hate, that the white man is the devil, and that they're going into slavery and all of this madness, and it's unbiblical. And they try to go in and say, well, the Most High hated Esau. Well, the Most High said he hates Esau. He didn't tell us to hate Esau. If that was the case, then the law wouldn't say it in Deuteronomy 23 and 7, not to abhor an Edomite. All right, so that always has to be kept in mind. And it's not just some of these Israelite groups. You also have other black extremist groups like the Nation of Islam, with Farrakhan saying that the white man is the devil. You have the new Black Panther Party with the same mentality, and we can't have that mentality because, matter of fact, those people that you think are Esau might be Israel. They might be your brother on a closer relationship than Esau is our brother. All right, so we can't do that. Now, Let's go to the book of Acts. It was a big debate in the book of Acts with the disciples, dealing with the Gentiles, or whom the scripture calls the heathen. Let's read the book of Acts chapter 10, verse 1.
Acts chapter 10, verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
So Cornelius was an Italian. He was an Idumean. All right, and just to paraphrase this chapter, because we don't have the time to go into it all, but the Most High had Peter have a dream, and the meaning of the dream was that he was preparing Peter to sit with another nation, and it was unlawful for an Israelite to sit with another nation. Let's go down to verse 22. Read that.
Acts chapter 10, verse 22. And they said that Cornelius, the centurion, a just man, and one that feared the higher, and of good report among all the nation of the Jews, was warned from a higher by an holy angel to send forth thee into his house, and to hear words of thee.
So the Most High sent an angel to Cornelius to meet with Peter, and Cornelius is seen here as a just man. So, and this is the reason why Israelite groups, they teach that Cornelius was an Israelite from the northern kingdom, because if this was taught that he was an Idumean or an Edomite, it would kill their whole doctrine of the white man being the devil. So they have to teach Cornelius being an Israelite. But let's see if he's an Israelite. Go down to verse 25 and read down.
Acts chapter 10, verse 25. And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and worshipped him. But Peter took him up, saying, Stand up, I myself also am a man.
So Cornelius fell down at Peter's feet to worship him, because Cornelius understands the prophecy of the Israelites ruling in the kingdom to come. But Peter told him to stand up. I myself also am a man. So if Christ was called good, and he told the disciples, call no man good but the Father which are in heaven, then who is Peter to have Cornelius worship him at his feet? Go down to verse 28.
Verse 28. And he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company, or come unto one of another nation. But the higher has showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
So Peter told Cornelius, you know how it's an unlawful thing for a man that is of Judah to keep company of one of another nation. Remember, Israel was one nation. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom was one nation. All right? So the northern kingdom wasn't considered another nation or a separate nation. Cornelius was of another nation. He was an Italian. He was an Idumean. Let's prove that. So once this happened, you know this caused a big stir, because remember, Peter was the only one that got this vision. So now amongst the other disciples, now it's starting to become a problem with these Gentiles coming around. Let's go to Acts chapter 15, and you can read the whole book of Acts chapter 15, but I'm just going to get straight to it because we're limited on time. Acts chapter 15, verse 14, after the whole discussion of should we allow them to come amongst us, let's see what the conclusion of the matter is. Acts 15 and 14.
Acts chapter 15, verse 14. Simeon hath declared how Ahiah at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name.
So Peter, who is Simeon,
said, hold up. Remember how the Most High did visit the Gentiles to take out a people for his name out of the Gentiles. Read on.
And to this agree the words of the prophets, as it is written. After this I will return, and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down, and I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up.
So, and to this agree the words of the prophets. So he's saying, let's go into the prophets. Let's go into the Old Testament and see and get confirmation, because it's written. The Most High said he will build again the tabernacle of David. Who is the tabernacle of David? Tabernacle of David is all of Israel, the 12 tribes. The whole Israel will come back. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom will be one kingdom, one nation. That's the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down because we fell as a people. But that valley of dry bones is rising, and I will build again the ruins thereof and will set it up. That's in Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 17.
That the residue of men might seek after the Most High, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, said the Most High, who doth all these things.
So we talked about the Israelites in verse 16. So they're dealt with. Verse 17 says, in all the Gentiles, not Israelites, Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith the Most High, who doeth all these things. So now let's go deeper, because this is a paraphrasing of the prophets. Let's go to the book of Amos and close this out. The book of Amos chapter 9, and we're going to read the actual, that was a paraphrase of Amos chapter 9. Now we're going to read it verbatim. Amos chapter 9, verse 11.
Amos chapter 9, verse 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
So the same thing we just read in Acts 15 and 16. Building up the tabernacle of David, which is the 12 tribes, and build it back up as it was under David. One kingdom, one nation. So that's Israel. Verse 12.
That they may possess the remnant of Edom.
They may possess the remnant of who?
The remnant of Edom. And of all the heathen, which are called by my name, says the Most High, that does this.
So there's your Acts chapter 15 for the Gentiles that the Most High took out that Simeon declared for his name. And because they knew Cornelius was an Edomite, this brought up this particular point in the book of Amos. And you notice how it separates Edom from the heathen to let you know that a remnant of Edom will make it to the kingdom, and that you can't lump all the Gentiles and exclude Edom out, as a lot of Israelites try to do. The Most High made sure that Edom was mentioned specifically so that you can't do that. All right? You are not the Most High to dictate who makes it to the kingdom and who doesn't. He said a remnant of Edom will be there, and of all the heathen, because somebody has to be in the kingdom to be possessed. If he's going to kill all the Gentiles, then there'll be nobody in the kingdom to serve Israel and to build up the kingdom that's to come. All right, so I wanted to show those scriptures for those people that want to run with finding out who Esau is, and in a negative manner. We're not focused on white people. We're not even focused on, all of Jewish people. We're focused on those who are at the top when talking about Edom, the Jewish powers at the top. And our focus is on those that do the will of the Most High. Because I don't care if you're an Israelite and you ain't doing the will, you're not teaching baptism, you don't teaching the gospel of Christ, then you won't make it to the kingdom. So
there will be those like Cornelius that will be in the kingdom to come. So that pretty much concludes the show for tonight. I know we were going to try to take some calls. Maybe a caller here